When did you become a VTuber? Today. Duck. Oh! Oh, I'm saying that I wouldn't tell you a secret because you tell everybody. You right, though. Ew, look at all the gross goopy goops. Whatever the frick they are.
Oh, look at him! What a chunk!
It is what you call a plastic in the shape of a long tubular stick. You mean a straw? Oh. Help me. Help me, friend! So how quickly am I gonna die if I just walk out into the...
Don't fight me! We're not supposed to move!
Wait for me, guys! Wait for me! Wait! Well, frick, step on me. Don't impede our vacationing or blow up these islands. I will stab you.
Yeah!
Do I dare look at the... Long arm's gonna come and find his way in. I don't think I'm there, right?
Okay, I'm there! I'm there! Oh my gosh, tiny hole! Wait!
It always bothers me when there's no shampoo by a kitchen sink. Wait, did I say, what did I say? Did I say soup? Did I say soup instead of soap? Shampoo? What's worse? Shampoo? Please tell me I said soap this time.
I said shampoo! No!
We come! Like this? You want me to stop looking at you like this? Good spooks tonight? Ah! Are we okay? Are we safe? Does his arms reach into here? Ah! Oh my gosh. You know what I do want? I want tits. The Twitch integrated throwing system. Roses are red, violets are blue. Omae wo no shinderu. Nani?
Oh, you slide!
This is my first limited character constellation.
Shut up!
It's been a little bit tiring.
What the?
I'm dead! I'm dead! I'm dead! I'm dead! Why am I not dead? Why am I not dead? Why am I not dead?
Say hello to my little friend.
What the balls? Are you kidding me?
Oh.
Has already managed to make contact with the divine.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Big traveler. Big traveler. Get down! You don't know how to do it! What's up? It feels like it has been ages. How's everyone doing? I hope you're having a good Wednesday. I hope things have been treating you guys good. Hi, Arrow. Hi, Quentin. And hi, Luke. How are you guys? It's been a very long time. It feels like ages. Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Like, it really does feel like 11 years or something. Because I haven't streamed. I know it's only been a few weeks, but so much happened. So much happened in that time. And I'm also still jet lagged. Still jet lagged. I still feel really tired, but how are you guys? Also, let me know if I need to like make the music quieter, if it's too loud, or yada 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 yada. How was your trip? It was good. Excuse me. It was very good. Oh my goodness. I definitely want to go back if I can. But we kind of did a lot. So much definitely did happen. Yeah, when I was in Japan, I tried to stay up to date with other stuff, but it's really hard. It's like really hard because you're like busy 90% of the days, right? Like you're just going about, you're going place to place, doing all the stuff. And then when you finally have a moment to sit, you go and like check social media, if you can even check social media, right? And then you're like sitting there just thinking, like just trying to catch up. And there's so much that happens. So much that happens.
So,
But yes.
hi.
How have you guys been? I hope you guys have been good. Well, I've been gone. There was, like, don't get me wrong, I loved being in Japan, which sounds wild to say now. For those who don't know, yes, I was in Japan for a few weeks. Kind of buck wild. I just barely got back, like very recently got back. And I kind of wanted to do a stream because I was like, might as well like talk about it because it's kind of a big deal. Like I've been on like vacations before, but nothing like this. So I was like, might as well like talk about what I can and record it in a way because who knows if I'll be able to go back. But I will say I won't be able to talk about everything, obviously. There's just some things where, there's just some things where I feel like I would dox not only myself, but other people. So, unfortunately, things are going to be vague, and I can't show everything, but I'll do what I can. Like, in total, the amount of photos that are from this trip is in the thousands. It's, like, insane. People took so many pictures of this trip, but I can't show everything. So, but I do have a handful, and I will talk about what I can. Mark, hi, welcome. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. No way. We're just getting started. Like I said, I'm like super tired though. So forgive me if I keep yawning or if I seem a little bit more low energy as the stream goes on. I'm still catching up on sleep. Welcome back. Thank you, Vicarious. Or Vicarious, excuse me. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Ugh, it's good to be back. I think I said this while I was in Japan to somebody where I was like, I love being here, but I do miss streaming. Hey, Alex, thank you so much for the 5 months. That's insane. Holy crap. Thank you. Thank you. How are you doing, Alex? I hope you're doing well. Arrow, kind of surprised that you survived because while you're gone, Japan started restricting tourists in certain areas. Yes, actually, I noticed that. Like, literally after I left some areas. It was interesting. Let's see. Is that Shibuya 109 from every piece of media that takes place in Tokyo? It sure is! I figured this was a good starting photo. But yeah. So I won't be able to go over everything, but I'll do what I can. And I had to double check these photos, like triple check. Because unfortunately, like, some people's faces are in photos or like reflections. I tried to do what I can. Some temples are no-goes. It's true. We were allowed in certain areas, but there was always this lingering concern while I was in Japan of like, are we going to be allowed to enter certain places? Like even restaurants. Some restaurants don't allow tourists or foreigners, I should say. So even that was a concern of like, will we be allowed to eat here? Are we allowed to go check out, are we going to check out this temple? Are we allowed to check out these shrines and whatnot? But in general, where I went, I was never restricted. I do know restrictions do happen, and I do know that tourists and foreigners can ruin the experience for future tourism opportunities. But where I went, I was never restricted. So, take that as you will. Shibuya is like Japan's Times Square. It really was. Like, when I was in Shibuya, it was like, I did feel like I was in like a city like New York, even though I've never been to New York, but it felt like it. It was massive. It was busy, really busy. But it was still really cool to see. Wonder if you went to Super Nintendo Land. We'll get to that, actually, but it was not what you think. Hold on, need some water. Also, thank goodness I didn't get sick from this trip. I think I can say that. I have not gotten sick yet. Unless something happens in the next few days, we gold. We good. Now, full disclosure, Times Square was much taller. That's good to know and fair. Like, it's definitely not the same. I know it's not, but the comparison I feel could be accurate. But yeah, the buildings are definitely not as tall as some buildings you would see in America. Excuse me. So full disclosure, I actually was I hope I can say this. Actually, maybe to be safe, is it fine? I think it's fine, right? I think it's fine. I was on a cruise in Japan. The reason why is we kind of decided that we didn't really know what to do in Japan because there was so much to see. So we kind of decided, like, let's just go everywhere. Let's try and go almost everywhere so we can get an idea of things we want to do later, like if we ever come back. So we're gonna be hopping around the place a bit. But yeah, I guess we'll get started and talk about what's going on. Like, once again, let me know if the music ever gets too loud, or if you guys have any questions, feel free to stop me and, like, ask stuff. Like, if you're like, I've heard about this in Japan. Did you see this or did you do that? Please ask. Or, yeah, especially because now that I've been there, I have a little bit of a better idea. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I have a little bit of a better idea of what Japan is like. Obviously, nothing would compare to actually living there and living in the culture itself, but being there and, like, versus what you see in, like, videos and TVs there is a difference sometimes. So we have all of many questions. I mean, I hope so. To be fair, I don't go on, like, trips like this often, and I'm not used to really talking or sharing my experience. So, if you need me to elaborate on stuff or if I'm not making sense, please let me know. Because, again, I don't do this often. JP interest rates announced 0. Oh, yeah, the interest rate was, like, really low when we got there. I think it changed, like, right after we came back or something. I'm not sure. Famous native Japanese VTuber plays fire. That's me. Ohayou gozaimasu. You're back. Welcome back, Quentin. Oh yeah, that's okay. I don't know if I have this in my notes to talk about in the slide, but that's actually something I want to talk about. So I did try to learn some Japanese before I left, and I couldn't learn everything. There's no way. I talk at a baby level. Like, I know very little Japanese, but I knew some basics, right? I noticed there was a particular phrase, if I said in Japanese, people thought I spoke way more Japanese than I did. It was wild, because, like, obviously, there's no way I can't hide that I'm not Japanese, right? This was your first time, yes. There's no way I can't hide I'm not Japanese. So people obviously know and kind of would expect that I know a different language. Most likely I know some English. But I noticed if I asked if card was okay in stores in Japanese, they felt like, or they started asking more questions in Japanese, or like, we're like, wow, you know Japanese. I'm like, I really don't. Squishy this. But yeah, if you ask, because some stores don't take cards, so you have to ask if they take card or if you need yen, which I do. If you ever go to Japan, I do recommend you need yen. You need it. You need it. Don't assume that you can get around the place just using card. You need yen. So make sure you exchange some money for yen. But yeah, as soon as I asked store owners, like, "Card wa ii desu ka?" they thought I knew more Japanese than I actually did. It was so interesting, because, like, if you hold up a card, they would be like, "Ah, yes." But if you ask, "Card wa ii desu ka?" you were like, "Ah, daijoubu desu." And then would go on, or like, I had this one person ask, like, "So you know quite a bit of Japanese?" Like, they had pretty good English. I was like, haha, nope. I know nothing. Hajimemashite, boku no namae wa. Yeah, I never got the chance to introduce my name, but let's see. That's pretty much all I know. Like I said, I know basic stuff. Like, I know how to ask where something is. I know how to ask if someone knows English. I know how to say, is this okay? We can know how to like say yes or no or disagree with stuff, but it was very minimal. Luckily I went with people that knew more than I did, but for what I didn't know, I used a translator app, which was super helpful for both parties. Because there was one time I was trying to figure out what bus to get on, and, you know, asking that is a little bit more complicated. Using a translator app was super helpful in those situations. Japan inspired to give you imposter syndrome. Or conspired. Yeah. Biggest words I know are watashi wa and itadakimasu. Yeah, let's see. I know, beyond that, I know gochishou sama deshita. Tadaima. I know very basic Japanese. Very basic. I will say, I do feel if you know some Japanese, you will be viewed a little bit more favorably. Because again, like when I asked if card was okay, it seemed like, to me, I could be misinterpreting it, but to me, when they were like, oh, you are learning Japanese, they seem to be much more patient and like understanding. Oh, I also know how to say excuse me and sorry. That's other words I know. Okay, they would use Google Translate for the whole trip. I think they understand. Unfortunately, like, I do want to learn more Japanese though. That's one big takeaway that I took from this trip, because it's one of those things where like, if you study a language, you're like, I got this. And then when you actually get there, you're like, I know nothing. Oh my gosh, how do I'm gonna be lost and no one's gonna be able to help me. What am I doing? So, yeah, that was definitely an experience where I was like, I'll be fine. And then I get there, I'm like, the only Japanese word I know how to use correctly is eto. Do you know they have 3 versions of greetings for every day? Yes! Well, they also have different greetings depending on what day or the time of day, too. But yeah. Language. Definitely recommend learning some Japanese before going. Let's see. Let's see. I do know konbanwa. Konbanwa. Ohayo. Konnichiwa. Yeah, konnichiwa is just like a general, like, welcome for any time of day, I feel. It's usually used for midday, but it can be said anytime. I've not been out of my country of origin, so if not really felt that feeling before. To be honest, same! This was... another reason why this is a big deal for me. This was my first time going to a country that does not speak English. So, that was very eye-opening for me, and for me to realize how much more I need to study Japanese. I've never done something like this before. So, first time for everything. There's 3 alphabets. Yes. That was the thing, is that I do know hiragana. Or, yes, I do. Yeah, hiragana and katakana. I have like a very basic understanding, and sometimes I have to refresh on some characters. I do know how to read that. Kanji? Nope. Nope. There was some kanji I knew. Like, I think I know water and like people. That's it. I like know no kanji. I've lived into the UK, Ireland, and Mexico, and by Mexico I mean 2-hour drive. Fair. But yeah, this was my first time going to a place that doesn't like commonly speak English, and also in general it was just like my first overseas trip. So it was all new experience. Which, speaking of that, this was my first time taking a long flight. all of the flights I have been on up to this point have been under like 2 hours or 3 hours. I've never been on a flight longer than that. So imagine going from that to suddenly taking like a 10 to 14 hour flight. That was an experience. That was a very interesting flight. And one thing that happened on that flight, on the flight leaving to Japan, it was kind of like this moment where I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. When one of the advertisements that was happening on the plane was saying things like, don't do sneak peeks. And I was like, what the frick is that alluding to? Sneak peeks? What is that? And then they showed a picture of a flight attendant putting in luggage at the top and some person putting the phone underneath the skirt and taking a picture. And I was like, oh, right. Oh, right. That was like the first moment where I was like, right, this is Japan. The other thing, oh my gosh, the other thing that really hit me that I was in Japan, right? I got to Japan super early in the morning, like ridiculously early in the morning. And when I got off the flight, I had to use the restroom. So I went into the restroom and they had really long stalls, which is like kind of common in countries outside of America. But the thing they have are public bidets. I lost my mind. I like got into the bathroom and I looked over and I saw the bidet and I was like, oh my gosh. Ah! And oh my gosh, guys, I could go on a rant about bidets. Like, I know this is probably a weird topic, but I could go on a rant about bidets. They have the bidets. They have a feature in some bathrooms, not all, but in some bathrooms they have a feature where if you want like extra privacy, there's a privacy button, and it can like mask the sounds that's happening in the bathroom. It's like running water sounds. Oh my gosh. Let's see, real quick. The reason they have women in only train cars. Yeah. Do they still have an emperor? I'm not sure, to be honest. Cold bidet water. But that's the thing! That's the thing! Gosh, the bidets are so good. You can, depending on where you are, some bidets you can have like a water temperature feature. And sometimes, I saw this in some areas, they have seat warmers on their bidets. On their public bidets! It was so good, guys. Like, oh my gosh, when I got back and I used a public restroom, I never more did I want to go back to Japan than in that moment where I was like, I miss bidets so much. Ah! Guys, it was so good. I love bidets. Did I come back to talk about toilets? You did. Bidets are great. Public bidets. Would recommend. And actually, that's another thing. If you are someone who's kind of hesitant about bidets or like doesn't use them, before you go to Japan, you better get used to using one because they're everywhere and the toilet paper does not compensate not using them. Like, the bathrooms, you like rely on people using bidets. You have to use bidets in Japan. So, just a heads up. Gosh. You could go on much longer about toilets. I freaking public bidets, man. The ones where you squat down would never use. There was an opportunity. There was an opportunity where there was one time I saw an open stall of a squat toilet. And I was not in the space or like the mental space to use it. But the opportunity was there. Last bidet feature I saw, the nozzle will move forward and back so you don't have to scoot around. Ooh! Oh yeah, that is a feature. I think I saw one bidet in Japan that had that, I think. Let's see, what else? I have some notes on the side to make sure I'm talking about stuff. Like for this first slide, I'm kind of going over some of this stuff. Because, you know, Shibuya. When I got to Japan, when I first got to Japan, I got an Airbnb. And it was really interesting because Airbnbs are typically like houses, right? And actually being in a Japanese house was a very interesting experience. The Airbnb I got like, here's the thing. To American standards, it's small. To Japan standards, it was really big, if that makes sense. Because a lot of things in Japan are more like compact and condensed. I'm not sure if I'm using the right words to describe it, but it was interesting because like when you first go in, there's just an area for where you take off your shoes and then an elevated area where you can walk around. And that was a new experience. The kitchen was also really small too. But it was a good Airbnb. And what was really interesting is the fact, like, because you know, Japan's very, I don't know the word, aware of others, right? Aware of others, like considerate of others. Neighborhood was super quiet too, that we were in. So yeah, in general, Airbnb was good. I really liked the host. The host had like this huge book kind of like talking about how to take care of their house and also how to organize the trash, which is also a huge thing. Conscientious, that's the word, thank you. That's another huge thing, organizing trash. They would do stuff like, if you have a bottle, you have to take off your label and the cap of the plastic water bottle and put them in separate trash and then put your plastic bottle into other trash, that type of stuff. Let me read chat because I feel like I missed a few messages. Talk about Japan. I have a recommendation for a song by a Japanese artist. Ooh, I love toilets, dude. Yeah, toilets are so good. Hate taking shoes off while standing. It can be hard. They did have like a spot in this Airbnb where it was like you could kind of sit down and take off your shoes. It was nice. Alternatively, they're collectivists rather than individualists. Yes, very much so. You probably had to wear a mask the whole trip. I actually didn't. I probably should have, because it was one of those things where I was like, I need to remember that I want to wear a mask most of this trip because I want people to be comfortable. And straight up, I forgot. Except for like the first couple of days. That was a goal I had, but I forgot. Oh, yeah. I do want to be better though when I go back. Fight Song by Eve. Okay. Where is... Okay. Also, to be clear, I'm a lover of high-quality toilets. Dude, when you find a high-quality toilet, it's so hard to go back. Oh my gosh. I saw the music, the title of the song, and I saw fireflies, and I thought it said Flace Fires, and I was like, wait, what? Let me see. Oh yeah, first day also in Japan, we did a lot of convenience store trips. Actually, we just did a lot of convenience store trips throughout the trip. Family Mart, 7-Eleven, and I forget what the other big one is. Either way, convenience stores are so cool in Japan. Like, they're still like stereotypical a little. Well, what you would expect, but it was just actually really convenient to go there and be like, I'm gonna get like a quick snack or something, or I need something super duper quick, or even just things like, I'm gonna go grab this thing and then I'll heat it up in the microwave back at like the Airbnb or whatever. So nice. Konbini trips would definitely recommend it. If you're in Japan, you have to check out a konbini at least once. No, scratch that. Check it out at least 3 times. Every time I watch a vlog in Japan, it always looks different. You know, because, well, that's the thing. Lawson's, that's it. That's the thing, is that every area in Japan, like, there's similarities, but they're all very different, too. Let me adjust my mic real quick and get some water. Something else I did on this first little, like, day that I was here, and, I went and tried to walk around and find some local shrines, because there's shrines everywhere in Japan. You could be walking down a street and run into a shrine. And it was really cool to just see, like this first one that I found in the local area that I was staying in was actually it was really cool because they had like 2 different graveyards, but we didn't want to like bother people in graveyards or like walk through graveyards, but it was my first time seeing like a Japanese graveyard, and it's very different than what I'm used to. Big on dramaturgy? Got me into his stuff? Ooh. Dramaturgy? What's dramaturgy? But anyway, that's just kind of all preliminary stuff. Let's talk about Shibuya. Which is what this picture's about. Like I said, I won't be able to show everything because there's thousands of photos, but I am going to try to show what I can. Sorry, too much cheese talk. No, it's okay. Fun fact about Lawson's originally started somewhere in Ohio. Yours popped up in Japan. Oh! That kind of explains a few things about it. Interesting. Did I ever go inside a Lawson's? I can't remember if I went inside a Lawson's. I do know I was definitely in Family Marts and 7-Elevens, though.
All right. So, Shibuya.
One thing that was very interesting going to Shibuya is trains, right? Because public transport in Japan is actually super efficient. Super efficient. It was kind of insane. I remember we were on one train and we were on the platform and another train across the way stopped. And the train I was on was waiting for people to board. And this lady from the other train on the other side of the platform, while browsing her phone, just walked off the train and then walked onto my train. Like that was just a daily thing. They are very punctual that people just kind of expect to do that stuff. It was really kind of buck wild to see. I do remember before going to Japan hearing that one time one of the people in charge of the travel or trains, I forget what, had to make like a public apology for trains being late, or like one train for being like 2 minutes late or something. And it's because they're just super efficient, and because they're efficient, they have to rely on the efficiency of others. So when one is inefficient, it affects like the whole system. There was one time also, I mean, it's a little different when you go out into like more rural areas, but in the city, it's pretty efficient. Like trains would come by every like 2 to 4, 6 minutes or something. In more rural areas, a train would come by like maybe every 10, every 20 minutes or something. And trains would work throughout the day, except from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., I noticed. That was the time when they stopped. The other thing I noticed about trains is there would be sometimes I'd be on a train and it would say like, this train is not being operated by a train conductor. And it just is working automatically. Like there wasn't a conductor. Which is wild. Public transport sounds incredible. It was actually like such a breath of fresh air. It kind of like, it really made me wish that we could have something similar where I lived. And it's one of those things where it's like, but it's a lot of investment. And it is true. And it's just also like, the other thing is like, Japan culture is like really built around public transport or stuff like that. So having it be efficient is good for the community, whereas like it's kind of a risky investment for other communities elsewhere. But in Japan, it works so well. Like it is kind of time consuming and it would be faster to take a car, but that's given if you're renting a car or have your own car in Japan. If you're taking a taxi, you should take public transport. It's insanely efficient. Guess they still issue late passes, so employer won't fire someone. I hope so. I'm not sure. Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of efficiency and things they don't really, and passes. When we got to Japan, one thing that we tried to get, because we figured we were going to use the trains a lot, we tried to get like a JR pass or a Suica card. And if you don't know what those are essentially cards you can use for the trains, where you can put money on the card and then put it on top of like, it's not really a card reader, it's like a pad thing. And then it would just automatically withdraw money as you're going to and from trains. We tried to get there and we found out that a lot of places have discontinued physical Suica and JR cards. Like, it's just not as readily available as it used to be. So while we were in Japan, we actually had to pay for train tickets the old-fashioned way. Bus pass kind of thing. Yeah, like that, but for trains. But we had to learn how to navigate train systems without using a card. And that usually entails you knowing what station you are currently at and knowing what your final station is and seeing if you have a transfer along the way. So you would have to like look at the train maps, which are usually like above where you can buy tickets, and find the station you're at and try to find the station that you're going to. And depending on where you are going to, you will have to pay a certain fee for the ticket. Cell phone camera translated things for you. Yeah, we had translation apps for that. So it was a little bit easier, but also a lot of train stations had the English names next to the Japanese names. So we could still, even those who didn't know Japanese very well, can still read the English names. Most public transport areas still had English names. In fact, there was a lot of English around in public transport areas. So you're not completely lost if you don't know English, if you don't know Japanese. But there's definitely some areas you should know some basics, or at least have like Google Maps. Oh, that's the other recommendation. There is a thing you can get at airports and make reservations for beforehand. Pocket Wi-Fis. What that basically is it's a little device that grabs data from towers and then emits a Wi-Fi signal for you to use while you are walking around in Japan. Highly recommend pocket Wi-Fis, especially if you don't really want to pay for like data, like cell phone data. Pocket Wi-Fis are very convenient. The downside is if you're in like super rural areas, might not work. But if you're just like checking out the city, highly recommend pocket Wi-Fis. Very convenient. Let me think. So yeah. Oh, going back to the tickets. So we had to know what station we're at and what station we're going to, right? And we have to pay up front. The thing is, if you get a wrong ticket, which I know might be a concern for some people, if you get a wrong ticket, what you can do is like when you reach your station, the place where you put in your ticket reader, which is the same where if you had like a Suica or JR pass, it's kind of like the same area. The gates. When you put it in, it'll kind of stop you from going. And then there's usually like a ticket agent little office nearby where you can get your ticket look at and pay for the remaining stuff. I never had to do that, but that is a thing that can happen. So if you didn't pay enough money, no worries, there's still a way for you to pay when you actually get to the station you need to. Oh, the other thing. So I mentioned Suica cards were discontinued. However, there are some ways where you can get a digital Suica card on your phone, depending. And when you do that, it'll work exactly like a Suica card, where you can put money on it. And then instead of like putting a card on the card reader area, you would just put your phone there and it would register the card and take out the money. So that is an option too. But keep in mind, that's not available for every phone. I learned quite a lot about the public transportation in Japan. Kind of like Apple Pay. Yeah, like Apple Pay. Because we wanted to save money and not take a taxi everywhere, I learned a lot about the public transportation system in Japan. We still missed a few things because we were still learning about it, because it's very different if you are not used to how efficient this thing is. But Oh, it's a beast. Take time to understand public transportation, and also try, if you're in Japan, try not to jam pack your day, because if you're not used to the public transportation or like taking trains, it is a little bit of a learning. It does take a little bit of learning and patience. So like if you're like, oh, we have this thing in 1 hour, that means we have to take the train right now. You can, but that could be risky. I'm blessed with a brain that understands public transportation well, if nothing else. Yeah, it took us a while, but I'm just good at map reading. That too, map reading will help you a lot. Let's see. There's some other foreigners in Japan that don't speak Japanese. It's true. It's true. I definitely would say you should know some Japanese, or at least be able to communicate Japanese, though. Definitely. Shibuya Scramble. I think I talked about it. Super busy. The other thing, also, I had to take a picture of the 109. I had to, because it's just so iconic. Like, there were a few times we'd be going around and point at something and be like, look, it's just like the game. It's just like the game. The games. Many games. The other thing that's at Shibuya Scramble is Hachiko. I actually got to see the Hachiko statue. There was a super long line to go see the Hachiko statue, and we didn't want to get in line because we wanted to check out a few things. But we saw it from a distance. For those who don't know, Hachiko is a dog. It's a dog statue that is by Shibuya Station, I believe. And yeah, the dog. It's by there. It's in memory of this dog that kept visiting the station every day when its owner died, because the dog would wait for its owner when he would come back from work. And when his owner died, the dog still visited the station like almost 10 years. Yeah. So we saw that statue. It was memorable. You got more of these photos? I do. It's just one of those things where it's like, this was a good introduction photo, and yeah, but I do have more photos. In fact, looking at my notes, I think I've talked about everything I wanted to on this slide. So I'm gonna show you an ad I saw in Shibuya. I saw Honkai Impact 3's Part 2 ad, which was kind of wild to see. I literally looked up and I was like, what is that? And I saw the Honkai Impact logo, and I saw Hoyoverse, and I was like, wait! Scary, remember reading about the dog in the news. Oh, yeah. Dude, that Hachiko statue was so cute. The reason why I didn't show a photo of the Hachiko statue, we did take pictures of it, but there were just a lot of people around, and there are photos of like a lot of people. I try to blur faces or just like block people out though, because, you know, privacy. Hoyo's inevitable. It's true. There was quite a few Hoyo stuff in Japan, but this was in Shibuya Square. It was kind of surreal. With my people. Honkai Impact 3rd. I was trying to read the writing below, but I realized a lot of those are kanji that I don't know. There's some hiragana in there, but there's a lot of kanji I don't know. But yeah, let's see. So we checked out Shibuya Scramble a bit, and I also saw another advertisement there for VTubers, which was odd considering here, like over in the West, VTubers are like looked down upon and people think they're freaking weird and whatnot. But in Japan, it's kind of like idol culture. So I saw advertisements for VTubers that were going to debut soon. Hololive. No, I actually don't know the company. It wasn't Hololive. It was a different VTubing company, and 3 VTubers were debuting soon. And I like took a picture because, again, in the West, it's kind of looked down on. VTubers are freaks. I stay away from them at all times. They're freaking weird, dude. Ugh.
They're probably super ugly. That's why they use a model to hide their face. Because they're probably gross and disgusting.
Another thing. I love that. I love that emote. Another thing. There was one pole, like, light post that I saw in the Shibuya Scramble that had, like, a ton of stickers on it. One of the stickers was actually a sticker of Akira Toriyama. And it was, like, of Goku, like a picture of Goku in a circle with wings around it. And I thought that was really cool, because that sticker must have been new then. Because Akira Toriyama passed away at the beginning of March. And it was really cool. Like, just kind of like that moment of like, this area is constantly changing because that sticker was new. You know? Let's see. Thank you for understanding, person who's physically black and white like a drawing.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next slide is something that was on my bucket list. Ah! Nintendo! We went to the Nintendo store in Tokyo. This was so cool, guys. I love being here. It was like a moment where I felt like I was surrounded by people who understood me, which sounds weird, but like in the Nintendo store, all along the walls of the Nintendo store are like pictures of characters, and they're like characters of different franchises. And that's like super cool to see. Inside, you can kind of see right here, there's like a Mario statue somewhat behind me. It's a little hard to tell. Oh, snap! There's a disability. Hi, Scripus! Welcome back. Thank you. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Blaze Fires. I do variety. I just got back from a really big vacation where I was in Japan. Feel free to stick around. Hope you're doing good. Thank you again for the raid, Scripus. How was your stream? I hope it was good. I hope it was good. Let's see. What did you play? You were doing art. Oh, that's right. You were doing commission earlier. I hope that went well. How'd it go? It was so much fun, dude. It was so much fun. We're actually still at the very beginning of my trip, so if you want to stick around for the rest of it, feel free. There's a lot to go over. But it was so much fun. I was so exhausted though at the end. And I definitely missed home and missed streaming, but this was my blast. Thank you for the raid. So we're about to go over the Nintendo store. So if you're a fan of Nintendo, stick around. I missed you. Oh, I missed you too. You're having fun. It was a lot of fun. Very much fun. Very much fun? Yes. Nintendo store. Arrow, you asked earlier if I immediately went to the Zelda section. So that's the thing, is that they're all kind of intermingled. There's not really a section. Like, there's certain spots where, like, as you can see, there's, like, an Isabella kind of behind my hair. And then there's Mario. Like, obviously, you will find merch of the specific franchise by those statues. But in general, everything was, like, really mixed together. There was, off the top of my head, there was, they didn't do a lot of like smaller franchises. They did a lot of like the bigger ones, or like the ones Nintendo was like super in charge of, like Mario, obviously. Pikmin, as you can see, they had a lot of Pikmin merch, actually. Pikmin's pretty big there, it seems. They also had Zelda. It's kind of hard to see, but there is a Zelda statue in this picture. And Animal Crossing. Those were like the common franchises I saw at the Nintendo store. Every now and then you would see something small, but that is what you would see. No Kirby. Oh, there was Kirby too. You're right. There was Kirby. Yes, there was definitely Kirby. Super cute Kirby merch, by the way. Kirby merch is just good. Metroid. That's one of the ones where I feel like I only saw very little of, to be honest. Unfortunately. Was there any Splatoon stuff? Oh, yes! Splatoon was also really big at Nintendo. In fact, in this picture, it's kind of hard to see, but the video they were playing for the entrance of Nintendo Tokyo Store was Splatoon. Yeah, I think it was the DLC. Like, I know in this picture it's just text, but it was Splatoon when I got there. It played a lot of Splatoon footage. And there was also, I do remember seeing like Splatoon socks and among other stuff. Love to see the Honda Museum. I didn't know that was a thing. Or did I? I do remember finding out that there was some sort of classic car museum near where I was one time, but never checked it out. Maybe Mitsubishi, if they have like cars, plays, bicycles. Thinking on it, they do have museums like that, but I don't think I visited that. It's also a Cup Noodle Museum. Ooh! Clearly, there's a lot for me to do when I go back. If I ever go back. I want to go back. I'm saving to go back. Let me think. But yeah, there was so many different types of merch here, like cups and clothes, obviously, plushes, obviously, water bottles. And it was really cool because if you got stuff here, like all of them have like an official like Nintendo tag on the side of the merch, and it's like bright red to show that it's like official. And that's kind of fun. And the other thing is when you buy stuff at this place, you can actually like scan a QR code and get My Nintendo points if you have that set up. So I do remember like buying something there, and my cash, the cash register person actually spoke pretty good English. So I felt a little bit better talking some English to them. And yeah. One day I'll get my hands on an Isabelle plush. Well, there's a ton here, I will tell you that. There's so many Isabelle plushes in the Nintendo store. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Also, most Nintendo places will have a ton of amiibos. Like, a whole section dedicated to amiibos. Like, you know how in some stores, like some stores where there's like huge Funko Pop walls? Think of that, but for amiibos. Even rare amiibos. I didn't look too closely, to be honest, but there's a ton of amiibos. Plushes are like gambling. Go in with a set amount of cash and try not to go over. Yeah. Okay. I want to go to the Pokemon store.
Speaking of,
right across the way, like super nearby where the Nintendo store was the Pokemon Center. And I got to see the freaking giant Mewtwo statue that they have in front of it. It is massive. Like insanely big. To be honest, I don't have a lot of pictures of this spot, but the Mewtwo was like the coolest part for me. It was also interesting because we knew that it would be easier to find plushes of like more rarer Pokemons in Japan than it would be like in the West, right? So we kept our eyes out for some weird stuff. I actually bought a Pokemon plush that I love that is freaking dorpy and weird. It's a Deoxys plush. It's so freaking weird. His eyes are like bugging out. I love them though. I love them so much. Which Deoxys? Base Deoxys. They did have a plush of Defense Deoxys and I think Attack Deoxys. I just took the normal one because I think I like the normal one best. Cosmic Horror now in soft and huggable form. And the Deoxys plush I got it has like the legs are what's the word? They're bent, so it can rest on shelves, is what I'm trying to say. I want a Dunsparce plush. I don't know if there was the Dunsparce. There was definitely Dunsparce though. Now for the rest of the chat. I definitely did not know this was a transition. Yep. He sits. Dustpart's my beloved. Dude, like, the Deoxys plush is so freaking derpy. I love it so much. Like, it's one of those things where, like, people are like, oh, look at this plush. It's so cute. Like, there was, like, a really cute Dragonite sleeping plush. It was so cute. And Deoxys is just sitting there, bug-eyed, head tilted to the side, like... And I'm like, this thing is perfect. I love it. It's so freaking weird. It's so weird. I love Deoxys. I love this plush. I'm getting it. I chose this over some of my other favorite Pokemon plushes because it's just so weird. I simply desire a life-size Torterra plush. They did have huge plushes. Not sure if they had Torterra though. We also, let's see. There was also other stores nearby this because this is actually like a floor on a mall. Deoxys, do you love me, mother? I do. I do. Like a little bed of Torterra. Oh, that would be so cute. Gosh, that would be so cool. A bed of that's a Torterra. I love that idea. There was other stores here. Like, for example, there was a Shonen Jump store on this same floor that I wanted to go check out. But it actually had a ticket system where you had to have a ticket prior in order to get into the Shonen Jump store. So, yeah, I was not able to go in. I was able to look from the distance, though. There's a huge One Piece statue up front, and they had, like, enlarged, like, manga strips from My Hero Academia. But yeah, could not get in. There was also, strangely enough, well, maybe not strangely enough, but there was a Capcom store. And it was just strictly Capcom. Capcom's one of those companies where I forget how big they are, actually. Any Power World? No. No Power World. But yeah, I can't remember if it was this store. I remember seeing Resident Evil merch at the Capcom store, I believe. Which is kind of interesting to be able to, like, walk around a mall and run into Resident Evil merch. Capcom is very big, bigger than Nintendo? I don't think it's bigger than Nintendo, personally. But it was interesting seeing its own store. Or at least, I wouldn't say it's bigger than Nintendo in the West. I could be wrong. But maybe that's because my favorite series from Capcom's are the lesser known ones. Let's see. According to my notes, I think I went over everything here. The next thing we did is food. Food. This was a ramen bar, I believe, and y'all, I freaking love food. I freaking love food. This was so good. This was so freaking good. Like, our goal getting to Japan was that we wanted to eat out as much as possible. Eat as many food as we could. And it did not disappoint. This was like one of the better foods we had, and it was great. She promised now rude for you. I will admit, I did have some coming back, and there's definitely a distinct difference. Definitely. And it makes me sad. How tall is the Mewtwo, by the way? Very tall. Taller than me. And I'm average height. And the biggest company is Japan. Interesting. But yes, super good. This was actually fun because we actually ran into two Japanese people who clearly knew we weren't Japanese. And started asking us where we were from. And when we said, oh, we're, from North America area, they were like, oh. And it's so interesting seeing the places they first went to, like, ask if people were, like, from America, just being like, oh, are you from Texas? It's like, That's your first guess. Interesting. Texas. Yeah. I was legit expecting them to be like, are you from New York or California or something? But Texas was their first guess. I love seeing or like learning about what people's first guess is. Like, but because America's massive. That Mewtwo is 410? It didn't feel 410. Texas got a good rep for manners and good cheer. Oh! Well, then I'll take that as a compliment. I'm glad they saw us very highly then. There was news about Texas becoming its own country. Maybe. Let's see. I'm a little hesitant to stay on this photo, so we'll go back to the Mewtwo. Actually, we'll go back to Nintendo. I feel a little bit better keeping this on Nintendo. Because I have a story! I made up that number. Oh, good. I was like, it definitely didn't feel like it was 410. It felt much taller.
I have a story. Story time.
So, that was the end of this day. It was super late. You definitely bought something. Oh, I definitely bought stuff. I bought so much stuff, dude. I spent a lot more than I thought I would. Actually, scratch that. I spent less than I thought I would, but I had planned for so much more. But I still bought a lot more. Anyway, I have a story. It was very end of the day. Tired, super exhausted. We just wanted to get back home, you know? And we got stopped in a station by someone else who was clearly not Japanese. And they had asked us, like, hey, where are you from? And we were like, oh, we're from blah, blah, blah. And, like, we're from, you know, North America. And I'll be vague, but they started talking politics. And we kind of sat there like, we're in Japan. We don't want to talk about politics in Japan. And it kind of like sparked some like a little bit of flags because why is it that you stopped strangers in Japan to talk about politics? So, love talk politics. Yeah, so we asked them where they were from, why they want to talk about politics, about America, and sure enough, they were like, "Oh, I'm from Toronto," and we're like, "You don't even go here. Get out!" Not only that, but they like made again. They just made a lot of. They talked very conspiratorially, I will say. Like, it was no talk of the game, but it's all they read about. Yeah, and it doesn't help that, like, I'm trying to be as vague as possible because I don't like talking about politics. Like, I straight up don't like talking about politics. It's exhausting. I think it's important to talk about politics, but in this space, I don't want to talk about politics. I will say, when it, like, American politics unfortunately seep into so many different countries because a lot of Americans just kind of assume people know about their politics, that unfortunately people do know quite a bit about our politics even if they don't live here. But it's still kind of like the way this person was talking about stuff, it definitely felt like they were just getting stuff from the news, and we were trying to tell them about the more local talks that have been happening, but they still talked very conspiratorially, kind of thing. Like, oh, isn't it interesting how this only got brought up only in recent years? And we're like, no, this has been a conversation for years, kind of thing. And we were just tired. They were making a lot of weird assumptions too, and kind of, quite honestly, offending quite a few people in the group. Canadian conspiracies go crazy. True. But we all had like a sour. We were really sour after that. And the person was like, I'm so glad we were able to talk, because usually if you talk to people about politics, they would punch you in the face. And I'm like, sir, we are in Japan. What makes you think we want to make a scene? We are trying to be nice. We are trying not to be weird tourists. Please. We already stand out. What makes you think we want to fight? Ugh. So we were just exhausted. But then, on the way back, we were kind of struggling to find out what train we were supposed to take. And we saw this one lady that kind of kept looking over at us expectingly with a smile, kind of like, and got the cue that it's like, maybe she wants to either talk to us or help us. So we approached her. And she was very eager to help us find our train. Like, super eager. One of those things where, like, we tried talking in Japanese, like, as basic as we could, and she didn't know much English. So it was, like, broken on both sides, where it's, like, broken Japanese and broken English. Trying to figure out where our station is. Eventually, we pulled out, like, she pulled out a translator app so that she could communicate with us. And as she was helping us, we actually kind of figured out where we were supposed to go, but we didn't want to, like, stop her midway, you know? And she seemed so happy to just help us. So we had her type out everything. She actually thought we were supposed to go somewhere else because, again, broken language on both sides. So she told us to go a different way, and we started, like, getting to a group and being like, oh, she seemed very sweet, and then suddenly she was getting on her train, and she looked at the sign and saw where we needed to go on the sign, and she ran back to be like, everyone, it's over here. And we actually all got on the same train together. It was just, like, such a sweet moment after such a sour moment of this person, like, talking to politics with us and just being really freaking weird, to this sweet lady who just wanted to help and helped us find where we needed to go. That's like a core memory for me, because she was so sweet. She took the time to not only help us, but to also come back and grab us, because she's like, I realized I was wrong. This is where you need to go. Like, I hope she's doing good. I hope she's doing good. She was so sweet. Good memory. It's literally one of my favorite parts of this trip. So yeah, I wanted to share that. She was so sweet. So sweet. All right. So we travel for a few days, and the next place we go, it's kind of hard to tell, but this is actually Shimizu, where we visited a shrine. And it was, I believe this is fertility or, like, childbirth, a shrine regarding that, like, that goddess. And we visited this shrine. But this was later in the day. Okay, I realized I'm looking at my notes. This was later in the day. Let me explain something that happened. We got to Shimizu super early. And we left super early because, like I said, we had a goal to try to eat out as much as we could. That's when we realized a lot of places in Japan don't open up early. Like, a lot of them opened up like 9, 10, usually 10 or 11. There were not a lot of places open up super early in the morning. So it became really hard to find breakfast. And we tried to, like, even going to, like, a fish market to see if it was open so we could just grab something. And that was also closed. Things are just not open in the early mornings in Japan. Although they're open at specific times. It's true. Like, there were some places we tried to eat at, and it's like, oh, this closes at 2:45. And it's like, why 2:45? But that's how it is. This was also the day where, because we wanted to get to the shrine much earlier in the day, but this was the day where we actually missed one of our trains. And because we were in a more rural area, it took a long time for the trains to actually come, because usually in, like, Tokyo, they would come every few minutes, and it wasn't that bad. But here, it took, like, another, like, 15 or 20 minutes. And then because we had missed our initial train, that added, like, an extra 30 minutes or an hour to our travel time. And that's kind of when we learned that even though it was super convenient in Tokyo and Shibuya, we need to be more careful about missing trains in more rural areas as time. But yes, we did manage to make it to the shrine finally, and we actually got there when I think it was a funeral. I'm not too sure, but there was definitely something going on that day. We saw actual monks that day and what looked to be a procession. And while we were there, there was very traditional music playing and prayers going on. So we tried to be as polite as possible. You know, everyone here was quiet and reverent. So we did the same. They also sold like charms here too. And it had the charms that they, or like talismans, you know, those little things that are supposed to have different properties to them. Like sometimes they bring good luck. Or I saw one that was like a healthy child delivery. There was also one for traffic safety, which is like, I get it, but I also wouldn't have thought that people would make like a talisman or a charm of that, you know? But they had a lot of different stuff there. They look like little packets with paper in them and you're not supposed to open them. Yes, you are not supposed to open them. I did buy a charm. I won't say what though, but I did buy one. It's just something that's going on in my real life, so the future is now. In the shrine, we also saw you know how like you can get your fortune read and on this little piece of paper, and if it's a bad fortune, you hang it up? We saw the racks of that. And there's also a spot where you can kind of see it in this picture where you can put up your wishes too, like what you want for the future, hope for the future, and hang them up there. The fortune slips, yes. Fortune slips were also here. I believe one person got it that I knew of, and we had to get a translator app because there wasn't an English alternative on the fortune slips. And it was very difficult to read kanji, I believe. And we were like trying to decipher if it was a good fortune. And as the translator app was working, we're like, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think you're good. Let me see. Oh, okay. I can go to the next picture, it looks like. Because right next to the shrine was a garden. I know this picture doesn't do the garden justice, I will be 100% honest, but it's one of the few. This garden was gorgeous. And once again, because it was close to the shrine, people were also still very reverent of the area too. And, but it was so pretty. There were also like little tiny shrines around here where you could put offerings, and like the stereotypical like red bridges that you see were also littered around the area too. I must ask, did you run into PewDiePie? No. I don't even know which area PewDiePie is in, and I honestly probably would not feel comfortable approaching him just because I kind of fangirl. Like, there was one time I went to a show and I fangirled so hard I started crying, and I didn't even approach the people like the performers. Wait, what? Yeah, PewDiePie lives in Japan. I thought he was Swedish. He is. He lives in Japan, though. I believe he and Marzia moved to Japan so that they could kind of raise a kid, or at least they wanted to live in Japan for a bit, but they don't want the kid to like be in the education system in Japan, because the education system in Japan is it's got some work. It's got some work. But yes, he lives in Japan. I guess I shouldn't say I know this. That's just what I remember hearing, you know? Yes, he does have a son. I remember I was in Japan, and in one of the downtimes, I saw photos. Like, he uploaded, or they posted the photos of the baby. And yeah, that was kind of wild to be like, oh yeah, he's here. Swedes cannot leave their nation. Lunar Dragon, hi! Busy right now, gonna lurk. No worries, thank you for the lurk. I hope you're doing good. Feel free to sit and listen. It's 4 languages to learn. Did you do the clap bell? Oh, the bell ringing. There wasn't a bell there. I was kind of tempted to do an offering, But to be honest, I had forgotten the procedure in the moment. And I was watching, like, locals do it just so I can remember. But because there were a lot around, I was, like, really scared of, like, being disrespectful, you know? But that I was tempted, definitely. Every shrine I visited, I was tempted to make an offering. Just as, like, a sign of respect. But I was also scared because if I messed up how they do it, like, before we even got into the shrine, they have the little, like, wash area where you're supposed to, like, wash your hands and your lips. Even that made me, I forgot how to do it, and I, like, watched a local, and it's, like, it feels weird as, like, a foreigner to watch a local and just be like, okay, that's how you do it. And it's like, I didn't want to be creepy, but I also wanted to be respectful. But yes, for those who don't know, when you make an offering to a shrine, there was no bell there, but when you make an offering, you throw the money in or the offering in, you bow twice, clap twice, and then you pray, and then you bow again. I believe. Oh gosh, did I get it wrong? But yes. I really want to make an offering one day. I look to learn. Oh, definitely. And I watch people too so that I can learn because I wanted to like, I mean, that's like a good way to go about it is sometimes watch the locals to see what they do so that you know what to do. But I was worried about being perceived as creepy, you know, especially because like it was a shrine and a lot of people can be vulnerable there or like feel spiritually vulnerable. So I don't want to be disrespectful. Run in Rome, 2 minutes to Romans, exactly. Let me see. But there are actually, we did visit quite a few shrines and there are a lot of similarities. Like there's often like a pretty garden area. There's often place to hang up fortunes, place to make offerings, tiny shrines everywhere, gardens. And for like bigger shrines, there's also usually in the front, like not immediately in the front of the shrine, but like a ways away from the front. Usually past where the torii gates are, which by the way, ton of torii gates in Japan. Ton of torii gates. They are everywhere. They're even on like driven roads. Like you would expect them to be on the way to shrines, but they're like on roads too. You know about the rule where you can't eat while walking down the streets? Yes. That actually hindered us a little bit because we loved getting street food, but we had to stop every time we got it so that we could eat before we moved. Here's the other thing in Japan. Not a lot of trash cans. And, you know, so you end up holding on to your trash for a very long time. It's one of those things where we, there was one time we were walking and we saw a trash can and someone was like, oh, I'm gonna get rid of my trash. And then everyone's like, oh, I have trash too. And like we get rid of mounds of trash at once once we found a trash can. But they know for a fact the streets will get dirty no matter what. Actually, I want to comment on this. Japan is straight up one of the cleanest places I had ever seen. And even people I talked to said that they were surprised at how clean Japan is. It's so clean. Despite the fact that like you have to wait with street food and you have to hold on to garbage, it's so clean there. Like obviously it's not like sparkling clean, squeaky clean. Like yeah, there is some trash here and there, but it was very clean. It puts public bathrooms in America to shame. Like, it's so clean. It was very surprising. Let me see. So, going back to the trip, we, so what I'm hearing is everyone should have an empty backpack to carry everybody's trash. I mean, straight up, we all had backpacks, and that's, what we did, is if we had extra space in our backpacks, we put the trash in there until we got rid of it later. Like, that's how infrequent trash cans were. Either that or have big pockets. So, I actually don't like our own public toilets. I don't either. Like, it's bad. It's bad. So, after we made sure to throw away your trash at the respective locations, right? Yes, we tried our best. Because there are specific spots. Yeah, they have waste recycle and food waste. Yes. There's like burnables and plastic and whatnot. So we did try to do what we can. We are not used to sorting our trash, but we did do what we could and tried to do our best. So we probably messed up here and there, but we tried our best. After we were here, we kind of were starving because some of us had only had snacks that day. I actually hadn't eaten at all that day, and it was like 2 p.m. And I get hangry when I don't eat. So we needed to head back to get food. And we actually walked through a shopping mall there. And shopping malls, or I guess it was a street. You know the thing that you see in Japan where it's like there's like an alley that it feels like there's a shopping avenue or something, and it's just different vendors on the side of roads. We went through that. And we actually got crepes there. The crepes, that was my first time having a crepe actually. So I can't really compare to what crepes are like here. But it was pretty good. I mean, I was starving at that point, so anything tasted good. But hangry ball of fire. I do get hangry when I'm hungry. It's bad. Back alley. This one wasn't really back alley, but something else that was happening in the shopping area though. There was a cosplay event, actually. I remember we got off the train, and as we were, like, walking around, we saw people in cosplay, and we were kind of like, what? There was a cosplay event going on, where people were dressed up as, like, different characters. Some of them were franchises I don't know, but I do remember seeing, like, Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, very predominantly. And yeah, they were just like having a little event. It didn't look how many of them are Hoyo characters. I actually didn't see any Hoyo characters. Otherwise, I probably would have remembered them. But yeah, I didn't see any. But it was cool. It seemed like a very local event or a very small event. I'm not sure. But it was fun to see all the different cosplays and admire them. And also us, like, picking through the crowd being like, oh my gosh, is that this character? Super fun. Let me see. Let me look at my notes. Oh, something that also happened is a lot of different areas have, like, so, you know, like the manhole covers that you would see? A lot of covers in Japan actually have, like, cute symbols on them or, like, are colored. Every area I was in, the manhole covers had like different designs on them and different colors. Very cool. Keep an eye out for it if you're ever in Japan. All right. So I did mention I was on a cruise here. Something very interesting that happened every time we got back on the boat is not foreigners. Locals would actually wave us goodbye every night or every time we left. Like, I've been on one cruise before. I don't remember that happening. So it was really cool. Like, it was really sweet where we would be leaving and we would see the locals, like, volunteers. I don't know if they were volunteers, but they would wave at us. There was one time I remember being on the boat and I saw this family walking by.
And there was this little kid, and this little kid was, like, looking up at the boat, at the people on the boat, and I think they saw us, and they waved.
And we waved back, and you could tell the kid got, like, super excited, like, oh my gosh, the people on the boat saw me! It was precious! But that day, when we got back to the boat, there was actually a group of people that were dancing at the port. And we got to watch them a bit. Music, I guess, seriously. It puts America to shame. It definitely was a very different vibe. Very cool. Yeah, dude, it was... Like, again, I don't know if they were begrudgingly doing it or whatnot, but it was still a very sweet gesture. Okay. Let me get some water. I want my own water, actually. Okay. Hopefully the rest of the photos will take less time to get through. Because we're not even halfway. But I'll give you a sneak peek of what's coming up next. But I think we're going to take a break soon. The next place is Osaka Castle. We went to Osaka next, which was awesome. But I think I need to get some water. Some more water. So we're going to take a quick break. All right? This is a good time for you guys to stretch your legs, get some water, and do anything else you got to do. We'll be back in a few minutes to talk more about the trip. I'm sorry for stopping right here, but we'll be back in a bit. Just because I'm talking so much, I can feel it in my throat a bit that I need to take it a little bit more easy, and I need more water, so... So yeah, I hope I set this up right. Yeah, that works. All right, we'll be back in a bit. This is one of the areas tourists were restricted from. Nope. Close, though. There is an area somewhat close. I'll talk about that in a bit. All right, be right back. A lot of Wii music on vibes on today's stream. Yeah, I tried picking an artist that had calm vibes. We could switch up the vibes. I like these vibes. There's also other vibes I like. We could switch them up. But welcome back. Thank you. Welcome back. Thank you. Went and got a cough drop because I think I've been talking too loudly. So just trying to gotta take it back a bit. Plus, because I got back, a lot of people that I know in real life are like, tell us about your trip. And I end up talking for hours about my trip. So my voice is just a tad tired. Tad tired. Welcome back. Thank you. All right. I saw the tweets. Wait, my tweets? Or what did I say? What did I say? What did I say? Can't remember. Still feeling jet lagged? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm bad at your pictures. Oh! Hi, Dishmars! Yes. Oh, right. But yes, some of those pictures are in here. Or at least there's one that I like that's still in here. Recognize your photos you're showing for your tweets. Yeah, there's one later that I really like. That's still one of my favorites. But yes, I am still very jet lagged. I'm kind of hoping I can go to bed early today. But given how long I'm talking, I'm like, I'm a little scared. But maybe now that I've gone through a lot of the basics in Japan, it'll be a little bit more smooth sailing from here. Although, Osaka's a pretty big time. Quick way to fix jet lag? I'm curious. But it still takes time to do so. Yeah, I'm almost there. I guess what I should say is I'm still tired. I feel like the confusion is gone. For the most part. Like, it's still a little foggy, but the confusion's gone. Sleeping the new timing while on the flight. I did try to do that. However, that did cause me to get 1 hour of sleep on the flight. Waited the flight back. But I did try. That's an oof. Yeah. I can go into more detail about that later. So, let's talk about Osaka. Osaka was the only place where we were able to stay overnight, and for a pretty big reason too. It's because, so I mentioned earlier that nothing's really open early in Japan. It's because the nightlife is very alive and thriving. And the culture kind of expects you to be out at night for the nightlife. And in Osaka, there's a lot of very popular areas that are out at night. So that's why we stayed overnight in Osaka. But the port of Osaka had a lot too. Nocturnal, yes. Like, there's a huge Ferris wheel in Osaka. Like, by the port. And also a giant mall. And supposedly, according to their advertisement, the world's largest aquarium. That apparently has 2 whale sharks. As you can imagine, I did not go to said aquarium. But yes, 2 whale sharks. I avoided the aquarium. Wonder why. But supposedly it's amazing and cool. But this was another day where we kind of had like a hard time managing our time again. And I wonder.
Hi, Kiwi. How you doing? I hope you're doing well.
Sounds fishy to me. Hey. For those who don't know, because I do know that there may be new people listening or lurking or watching. I'm scared of fish. I'm finally free. You're free! A flame elemental doesn't like water. Definitely nothing super creepy there. Welcome back. Thank you. But yes, I am scared of fish. Which I know sounds like a little peculiar. I wouldn't say it's a phobia because phobias are like debilitating. But looking at fish makes me very uncomfortable. There was a time I visited an aquarium in the past where a fish kind of surprised me and I screamed. in the middle of the aquarium. Not just like a ah, but like a ah! And really embarrassed the people I was with. So it's okay to be scared of things. That's true. It's just usually when people say they're scared of, like, there's like some fears where it's like, oh, that's a little odd. Like, I know being scared of fish is weird. It took me a while to get used to swimming around in Fontaine. Like, genuinely. Which I'm glad about, because I would be so sad if I was scared about swimming around Fontaine for so long. To be fair, I still am. There's still moments where I was in Fontaine and I would look around and be like, ugh. But luckily it wasn't that bad. Anyway, let me see. So yeah, we had a hard time managing time, and it kind of helped temper our expectations of what we could do on this trip, which is why I want to go back later, because there's a lot of stuff I missed out on because I was trying to cram in certain stuff, and also I was on a cruise, and if you don't get back to the boat by a certain point, they just leave you. So it was like, be back on time or figure out what the frick to do. And I didn't want to deal with that. I wish I was there to hear that freak out over a fish, but then again, that does sound scary. If you want, when I played the second Bendy game, I forget what the subtitle of it is, but the second Bendy game, there's a moment where you have to get a fish. You can kind of see my reaction in that. Not to dwell on fish phobias, but does knowing they're fake help? It depends on how they're depicted, to be honest. Like, if it's cartoony, whatever, doesn't matter. If it's real depiction, it still affects me. You never go to Japan once and you're there for a month. It's true. I definitely want to go back here. Dark Revival, thank you, Arrow. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm saving money so that I can go back there. Anyway, Osaka Castle. This is something that we finally got to do, like we wanted to do. We wanted to get there much earlier. But like I said, difficulty managing time. And, we weren't able to go inside. Like, we got there right before they closed the line to go inside. But we were able to still walk the castle grounds. The castle grounds were, like, open the entire time. So, this is one of the pictures from the castle grounds, I should say. We were able to go up close to it, but we, again, can't get too close. Do you wish the fish were cheap cheeps? Even cheap cheeps are weird. I will say about Osaka Castle. Sorry, I have a cough drop because I talk too much and my throat hurts. I feel like pictures don't do it justice, to be honest. Like, it's one of those things where I had seen Osaka Castle before and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. But actually seeing it in person was a completely different experience. Like, it's hard to tell, but that top floor where it's kind of, you know how most of this building is white, but there's the top floor that's like black and it looks like there's a little bit of a balcony there. Those are people at the top of Osaka Castle. For scale. Like, it's really hard to tell, but those are people up there. Like seeing St. Louis Arc, you don't really get a sense of scale until it's actually part of your skyline. Exactly. Exactly. Had a massive Jurassic dragonfly in the exhibit, freaked me out because it was so dark. Popped out of the dark. Oh, that'd be terrifying. Red Flower, hi, welcome. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. I have to give up my juice seeing the place flyers base best pro fishing 2025 stream. Unless it's Animal Crossing. Yeah. I think I have another picture of Osaka Castle next. Yeah. Gosh, this is a picture I'm really proud of. Really proud of this one. The garden area is very pretty. Like, even though we weren't able to go in the castle, just walking around the garden area was very much worth it. Very much worth it. Doing great. Just finished my trip from Canada. Ooh, that's exciting! You're also traveling. I hope it was fun. Animal Crossing logic fish out a massive fish from a simple fishing line. Ooh. Is Osaka Castle the one they built with no nails? I actually don't know. To be honest, we visited a lot of historical places, but I can't recall the history. Especially because I wasn't able to go inside. Closing time. It's gonna be lurking. No worries, Quentin. Good luck with closing. Gardens are nice. Dude, there are so many pretty gardens in Japan. Like, highly recommend. Even just walking around garden areas or parks is so worth it. I remember when I was a kid, there was a natural history museum with dinosaurs exhibit, and I was like 10. So I was like, yeah, dinosaurs. The actual exhibit was like, Target full of ominous noises, so I built after that 5 minutes. That's amazing. It's a temple made of wood in Japan. There's quite a few, I think. Must have been the same one I went to. Why does every natural history museum have one of those? Oh, you know, to strike fear, make people realize things are not as happy as they seem. So, going on with Osaka Castle, there was actually a shrine nearby Osaka Castle, and we were able to visit it. And like I said, there's usually like flea markets in front of these type of places. There was one here, but everyone had wrapped up shop except this one street vendor that had anime figures. Everyone else had packed up. This person stayed. So, but they weren't at the store. I don't know where they went. But we were able to look at their merch. Interestingly enough, a lot of Spy Family. Apparently Spy Family is much bigger than I thought it was. There was also a lot of Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen at that stall, I remember. One person knew. They knew tourists was coming. That would be insane. Spy Family is super duper popular. Yeah, like I knew it was popular, but I didn't realize how popular. Like every store I visited that had figures, or even that were like catered to like media, like anime, Spy Family was there. It was insane. I underestimated how popular Spy Family was. But it's interesting because I tried to find, like, I was on the lookout for Xenoblade figures or anything Xenoblade. And I kind of didn't expect to get anything at those stores because here's the thing. I love Xenoblade, but it's not that popular. So the chance I felt of like running into it was very slim. And yeah. Different cultures, different likes of anime popularity. True. True. But yeah, there was a little shrine nearby. There was a bamboo garden where we were able to walk around in a bamboo garden, which was very cool. But they did have like a sign there where it's like, hey, don't do anything to damage the bamboo. Which makes me a little sad that is kind of a thing where people are like, ooh, a garden. Let me destroy it in some way. Like, don't make carvings on bamboo, yada, yada, yada. It was a super small bamboo garden, but it still had a warning. Very pretty, though. Let's see. My notes say... Oh, right. I just want y'all to know my notes say in all capital letters, crows. So...
Let me talk about crows.
A garden. Let's put my face right up, I guess, and make a vlog about my travels to a bamboo garden. Or just like, I'm gonna take this piece of bamboo with me. Please respect flowers. You're not gonna pluck flowers from the ground. Don't damage bamboo. Bamboo garden. My city kids would try to rip down bamboo. Aw, that's a shame. I think people think they're trees and think they could do it. Crows. Yes. There was, by Osaka Castle, an insane amount of crows. Like, I would say several murderers of crows, which sounds weird to put in a sentence, but there were so many crows nearby that, you know, we naturally I took videos of crows, but they were just like cawing so much and they were everywhere. It was insane. Like, it was honestly a little creepy, but I want to see the videos too. I can't, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have included them. I can't. There's unfortunately a level of risk involved with them. Crows are a good omen in Japan, right? I think so. Well, I think crows in general are supposed to just be like a symbolic for omens, but people think omens usually mean bad things. You can't show videos. No, unfortunately, a lot of the videos have like people's heads in them or voices. And I don't want to dox anyone that has not given me their approval. That kind of thing. So you took any photos of them? I did, but, or did I? Might have to, it might be someone else. Either way. Yeah. Otherwise, 100% would have shared it. But just wanted to, you know, maintain some privacy. Not like, be like, this is someone I was with video. And then you can see like someone's face. Like, oh, let's not let's not do that. Were there any Ray events? I don't think so. I think it was all crows. So anyway, tons of crows. We decided to leave Osaka Castle, and there was another park near Osaka Castle, and the trees in there were like thick, like the foliage was thick. You know how sometimes in forests it's so thick it darkens the area when it could be like sunny outside? It was sunset, so it was still bright. And we decided to walk through this park that was like very dark. And as we did, it felt like it was super like late at night, like dusk. As we walked through this park, we hear all around us crows. Just crows on every side. And we were like looking around trying to find the crows, but it was so dark we couldn't see them. But they were everywhere. It was straight up like a scene from a horror movie where it's like, oh, let's just take a shortcut through the woods. And then you just hear all around. You're like, ah, ah, ah. And you're like, hello? Hello? Am I going to die? Who are you? Where are you? I think there was one time I looked up and there were like 3 crows in a branch above us. And I was like, hi. They making me hear a lot of anime hear crows in the background. I think it's crows. Hearing all this now makes sense. True! It was so, like, it straight up felt like a fantasy. I was in, like, a fantasy horror thing. Like, well, mix of both. Like, it felt like fantasy because it was bright and sunny outside, and then all of a sudden darkness, and then horror because crows everywhere. And it was, I also was, like, scared because I was like, what if we're close to, like, a crow's nest? What do you mean? I was like, what if we're close to a crow's nest and they swoop at us? Like, what if? But birds were very friendly in Japan, so I guess they were used to people. And crows are smart. Crows are very smart. So I guess they trust...
Emotional damage!
I mean, I did get scared. It was very emotionally damaging. But I guess because crows, you know, have good memories, they trust the people in that area that they felt like they could, you know, be there. Crows and other corvids are so smart. They are really smart. So they probably had a lot of good experiences, and that's why they were very much around the Osaka Castle area. Were you afraid that it would be your Final Fantasy? I see what you did there. Resident Evil vibe? Yeah, kinda. Like, especially that build-up. Like, if you're walking through the forest, you're like, something's coming, and then when everything goes quiet. The build-up was us going through that forest. This is a fun song. Okay. All right. So, but we aren't done in Osaka because, like I said, there's a nightlife. But before the nightlife, there is another place I wanted to visit really badly. You think I stopped at one Nintendo store? No! I went to another! I will say, though, we got here.
Stop it. Get some help.
Never! I love Nintendo! I will say most of my party went to the Pokemon store that was nearby. I went straight for Nintendo because at that point I was like, I saw the Mewtwo, I'm good. I haven't got any more than one. They have 3. But yes, I went to Osaka's. And like I said, I still wanted more merch. I wanted to find Xenoblade, you know, check all the Nintendo stores, see if there's maybe some Xenoblade. I will say, I feel like there was more Zelda merch in this store. Or at least, I remember having more Zelda vibes. Like less Mario vibes. Where's the third one? Kyoto. Never owned one of their consoles. Big gap in my gaming life. Nintendo was a huge part of my life, so... But I also know that they're not part of everybody's life. Knew it. Yeah, Kyoto's a big one. I will say, I almost cried in this store. But not for the reason you think. It was one of those things where, like, I think a Zelda song, like Breath of the Wild theme song, hit in the Osaka store, and I just looked around, seeing myself surrounded by Nintendo merch, and I almost cried. Just like having that moment of like, oh my gosh, this is real. 99% of Japan is basically in that general area. Yeah. I'll talk about Kyoto in a sec. Remind me to talk about Kyoto later. If I forget to talk about Kyoto, remind me to talk about Kyoto later. But I will say I managed to find Xenoblade merch, but it was their freaking amiibos, which I already own. I almost bought these because they are in Japanese, right? I almost bought them, but I was like, I already have these. That's just a waste. So that's the new guys. Yes, these are the protagonists for Xenoblade 3. I was really hoping I could find like other merch for Xenoblade. I combed every store I went to. No such luck other than amiibos. So, I will say, oh, I have a photo of this actually. Tactical anti-reflection emote. You're gonna see a lot of those actually. But yeah, I really did almost buy this. I see Metroid in the background. Yes! There was more Metroid here. I do remember more Metroid being in this store than in Tokyo. It's a good thing you did in Japanese. If not, it would still be recognized to translate it to English in-game. It's true. I actually, fun fact, the Xenoblade 2 DLC was a gift that I got, and I actually ended up not being able to redeem some of the DLC from the Xenoblade 2 DLC that was bought for me, like the little physical cartridge, because it was a European copy and I wasn't able to redeem it. So that's one reason why I didn't get these amiibos, because I kind of learned the hard way in the past where getting foreign copies just won't work. Not a fan of Metroid, but then better announce Metroid Prime 4. I hope they announce it too. Weird region locks. Yeah. I was tempted though, like a display piece, but you know what they did have? Wait, you know what? I learned the hard way because I bought a Japanese version of Street Fighter Collection thinking it would be in basic language. I'll translate it to English. Yeah. So, you know what they did have? An amiibo wall. A lot of these are Smash amiibos, I will admit. That's the other Xenoblade merch I saw. You can see right in the middle is Pyra and Mithra. But yes, amiibos were relatively easy to get. Oh, hell, the wall! Let's see, any Sora amiibos? Yes, there were Sora amiibos. I do remember Sora amiibos. In fact, I think there's a Sora amiibo in this picture somewhere, or at least there was on this wall. Anyone want to finish their collection would probably go to this wall. Yeah. Weirdly enough, really easy to find amiibos in Japan, or at least Smash. You remember how insane amiibos were back in the day? Yeah. It is incredible. It was one of those things where I was like, holy crap, I don't think I've ever seen this many amiibos for sale. Ever. I miss Smash Bros. The hype, man. That was a thing. Let's see. I'm looking at stuff I could still have. Oh, so at this store, they also showed the new Peach game. You know how at Tokyo they were showing Splatoon? They were showing the new Peach game here, and people were able to play it for a bit. It was very interesting seeing that game in Japanese. There was also other stores here where, like, I have written down other stores, kind of like the last mall we went to. Yeah, Princess Peach Showtime. Oh, you're right. They're either sold out or one amiibo. No one wanted large stock. True. I got my copy of the new Peach. Ooh, nice. I want to play it. In this mall, I actually saw a Phoenix Wright ad. I got no videos, but it was so cool. Like, it's surreal seeing the Japanese Phoenix Wright. And then, even more surreal. Even so surreal. More surreal. I saw a Resident Evil ad, which is a game I always associate in English, but it was in Japanese. Like, that was weird. Being like, Resident Evil, coming to console, like, blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh. Japanese Resident Evil, hi. Seems pretty mid. I still want to try it. Okay. It's time for the nightlife. I don't think I can show much, but Phoenix Wright? Who's that? You mean Ryunosuke Naruhodo? Ryunosuke. Yeah, I think it's Ryunosuke. I think you're right. Any ads for Helldivers 2? Not that I remember. Nightlife, 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 nightlife. I went to Dotonbori's, which was insane, guys. They misspelled Dotonbori. This was insane because, like, walking down this street was kind of surreal. There were so many large decorations. I didn't really take a lot of these pictures, but there was, like, giant crabs. Like, when I say giant crabs, I mean, like, animatronic crabs as, like, displays for, like, restaurants here. There was also a giant gold baby for one of the restaurants. I was a little peculiar by that. There was a giant gold cow. The crab is real. Yes, I saw 2 giant animatronic crabs. We love giant gold babies. Yeah, it had like the like happy smiley face with like the toothy thing where it's like, kind of thing. There was also a giant, yes, there was a giant gold cow here hanging somewhere. And also a huge, huge Spider-Man. There was a Spider-Man on one of the walls. Legit. It's one of those things where I was like looking through old photos and I was looking at some of the photos of people in my party and I saw that and I was like, what's Spider-Man? That night we also ran into someone who dressed up as Spider-Man. I think it wasn't a giant spider. I mean, the crabs we saw were pretty spider-like. But I will say, this street was packed because of nightlife, right? It was packed. It was kind of hard to navigate sometimes. Oh, we tried. So a lot of the nightlife, it's really good to get like street food and whatnot. We got Kobe beef. Which, is this still Kyoto? Nope, still Osaka. We got Kobe beef, which is one of those like meat skewers. That was some of the most delicious beef I have had. It was so good. And like the one of the people running the stalls was kind of like hyping up. I was still hyping up. Wait, Osaka. Yeah, Osaka was a big day. Was still kind of like hyping up and he came up to us and it was like, is it good? Is it delicious? And we were like, oh, so good. And he's like, oishi! Like that insane. Hypes is like, Kobe beef! It was a different vibe. I also got to try pork buns for the first time. I'd always seen those in anime, so I got to try it. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I think it's one of those things where if I had more of it, I could probably get used to it, but I wanted food, now I'm even hungrier. Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about food. It's pretty sweet. It was, I don't know if I would say sweet. I guess for me, I thought the like pastry part of the pork bun would be different and would taste different. The pastry part of it itself was kind of rubbery when I had it. So I don't know if it's the pork bun I had. The inside with all the pork though was delicious, but it's the pastry that like had like a weird texture that was a little off-putting to me. For me, pork buns are make or break depending on the bread. Yes, exactly. And like the bread, the pastry part, that was the break part for me. Oh, also another thing that I saw on this street, there was a Detective Conan restaurant. Like, I don't know what was being sold in the restaurant, but the decals on the restaurant were Detective Conan. Another thing we saw was the bread is fine in small quantities, but it makes up 50% of the bun. It's bad to Conan. Yeah. It had to be pointed out to me where someone's like, that's Detective Conan. And I had to like look and be like, oh, you're right. Other thing, I got to try takoyaki for the first time. And we also got to, because it was a night market, we got to see them being made as well. I will admit, the octopus tentacle was interesting to eat. The rest of it was fine. It's just...
Wow.
Wow. It's just the tentacle part that was just a little weird for me. Not gonna lie. But I think you guys might have seen me. I've always wanted to try takoyaki. Right? A lot of the food I tried were like stuff that I always wanted to try. I think I also tried taiyaki, I think it's called, the fish pastry, where it's like fish but it has bean paste inside. I forget what that's called. Taiyaki? Only had takoyaki from American ramen places. Yeah, we want to try it. Taiyaki. Okay, it is taiyaki. I gotta try that too. I always wanted to try authentic ramen. Same, and I'm so glad I did. It straight up, like, here's what I will say. There's probably some restaurants in America that are pretty authentic to it because, you know, some people will bring their recipes or their cooking styles over from said countries and will sell them. So you probably can find some authentic places, but it probably will be very hard. I've had live squid, 2 close calls. Yeah, the octopus was interesting. Okay, you guys probably might have seen this on Twitter, but if this is right, yes. This is one of my favorite pictures I've taken from the trip. We almost didn't visit this river. It's right by Dotonbori. I saw it through one of the stores, and I kind of had to convince the group. I'm like, the river's like right there. Can we go check it out? And we did. And someone in my group was like, you were right, Flaze. This was a good thing to check out. I'm like, yay! Ah, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. You can also kind of see the Kobe beef side here. It being night mixed without bright is messing with my brain. Oh yeah, things are bright at night at Japan. But that's just the nightlife, you know? This is still one of my favorite pictures. Oh, it's so good. When I saw this on Twitter, I was like, did Korea's small river get flooded? No, it is one of the rivers, and they can ferry people down. Did you enter the criminal gladiatorial arena beneath the river? Unfortunately not. We did not have the money. Plus, the ferry was full of people. You kind of have to wait till no one's on. This made me so happy. This made me so happy. Because I don't know if this is the exact river that is in Yakuza or, like, is inspired in Yakuza. But it's similar vibes, and it made me so happy. It looks incredible. It's hard to capture how pretty this area was. If you're in Osaka and by Dotonbori, the river is right by Dotonbori Street. So it's the river that the Sonbori is based off. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm glad because I felt similar vibes, and I'm like,
Is it too weird if I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just like Yakuza?
You know?
All right.
There was also... I actually double-checked when you tweeted because I wanted to make the Yakuza joke. There.
There was also
an Undertale pachinko machine? Like... or gacha machine? Either way. What? This took me by surprise. It's like, wait, this is here? Like, what? It's made me so happy. Undertale's one of my favorite games. So I did, obviously I had to do it, obviously. As you can see, there's quite a few characters you could get. I got
a papyrus.
That's what I got. That's Osaka. Dishbrush earlier said when gamer visits Japan, each other from America to Japan. Have you played Yakuza? Because my hometown is like Yakuza in reverse. Have you played GTA 5? True. As I understand, Yakuza is pretty accurate. Oh, it's very accurate. Like, a lot of times when I was in Japan, I'm like, this feels very much like Yakuza. It's very good at articulating that. And I mean, it makes sense. It's a Japanese game, but... Rarely still have yet to play Undertale. I recommend it. I also recommend not checking any social media while you play it. Because, yikes. Alright. But that was it for most of Osaka. And then we went back. So, the next day. This was the day we wanted to visit Kyoto. However, because we had stayed very late in Osaka, and due to time constraints, we decided not to go to Kyoto. Which means I was not able to go check out the Nintendo store in Kyoto. Or check out anything else that was in Kyoto, which is unfortunate. Especially because, I think Errol brought it up, they have restricted some areas in Kyoto's from foreigners now. I think it was restricted when I got there. But yeah, some foreigners were kind of being really disrespectful to some geisha, and they've started restricting some areas in Kyoto. I still believe you can go to Kyoto, you just won't be able to check out all of Kyoto. So, next time you may complete your Nintendo quest. Oh, I plan to! I'm going there. Was there a Delta Room gacha? As far as I could see, no. I did, right next to the Undertale gacha though, was a Star Rail gacha for, yeah, Star Rail gacha, and it had keychains in there. But because I had already gotten the Undertale, I kind of didn't want to spend more money. There may have been more Xenoblade stuff in the Nintendo Osaka store. There wasn't. I looked throughout Nintendo Osaka. But in Kyoto, there might have been. Because supposedly the Nintendo Kyoto store is much bigger and has more stuff. But, you know, due to time constraints, I couldn't check it out. People being disrespectful. Yeah. I keep getting the names wrong. Oh, you were saying there may have been more stuff in Nintendo Kyoto. There might have been. Which is, like, it makes me sad that I wasn't able to check it for that reason alone. But again, it's kind of like, do I risk that or do I risk being stranded? So I'll just have to check it out another time. But yes, there was a Star Rail gacha. In fact, here's the thing. I actually saw more, like, pachinko of Star Rail than I did Genshin. There was more pachinko for Star Rail stuff than Genshin. I wish I had more F-Zero Mother stuff there. Dude, same. I was keeping my eye out for Mother 2. Or the Mother series as well, I should say. That was also on my list. But yeah, they didn't have much. Although, I could have probably checked where the creator's store is. Because the creator isn't necessarily associated with Nintendo and has his own store. And you can find Mother stuff at his own store. That makes sense since Star Wars more recent. Yeah, a lot of the stuff is like recency or like popular that it like transcended time, like Dragon Ball or Sailor Moon. Interesting, guess Star Rail keeps winning. I guess. Yeah. Or Undertale. Yeah, dude, there's some things I have later here that are buck wild. But yeah, so we didn't go to Kyoto. We decided to visit local shrines instead. That was just kind of in the near vicinity. This is one of the shrines we visited. Like I said, there's sometimes you could just walk down a street and you can find a shrine. It's not going to be like a big shrine, but it could be a small shrine like this one. We still can't get Mother 3 in other countries. Yeah, it also just hasn't aged well, so I want it to. I want it to be localized, but you guys are talking about a game. Oh yeah, the Mother series, otherwise known as Earthbound in English. Next time you go get a copy of that game. Ooh, I could. As a thought. Anyway, shrines. So, one thing, this is gonna be a little bit morbid, you may have noticed, is that there's these little statues that have red bibs on them. We thought, you know, given that we didn't know what was going on, we thought it was weird. And then we decided to look it up, and it's actually pretty morbid. So people would put red bibs on these types of statues as a kind of way to like let the deity or whatever shrine the deity is for protect the dead kids who have passed in the afterlife from the demons and such. And there were a lot of red bibs around this shrine, which was kind of like, at first we're like, oh, that's a weird design, and then we learned and we're like, oh, so a person would put this on when a child died. Yeah. Again, I'm glad I looked it up so that I learned, but seeing statues and you're surrounded by red bibs, understanding the meaning definitely changes your perspective a bit. That's both cute that they care about them to do that in past, but also really sad. Yeah. But there were a lot of offerings around. Like, you can see here in this picture, it's a little hard to tell, but there's like little baby bottles of sorts, like little tiny bottles that kids could probably drink out of as offerings to these statues as well. Temple for everything. Well, that's the thing, is that that's a tradition for any shrine. But there is also temples for a lot of different things. Okay. Next. This is another shrine we visited. I was gonna say those look like little yogurts. Yeah. So it's kind of offerings for like the kids. This is another shrine we visited. We actually got to talk to one of the caretakers of this shrine, and he spoke very good English. Like, we were able to have a conversation. He told us that this shrine we visited was actually kind of like an offshoot or like a smaller spot of like a much bigger shrine in a different area that I honestly cannot remember, and it's driving me crazy. But he kind of was telling like trying to convince us like, oh, you should go check out this shrine. And we're like, oh yeah, we want to. We love checking out this stuff. And he was like, when are you leaving? And we're like, when are you leaving Osaka? And we're like, tonight. And he was so sad. He was like, tonight? And we're like, yeah. I'm sorry. We would stay longer if we could. I felt bad. But I did ask the guy, I was like, hey, is it okay if, because he spoke good English, I'm like, is it okay if we walk around here? And he was like, yes. So we walked around the shrine, and there was a place where you could wash your hands, so we did that. It broke his heart. I know, I felt so bad. He was so sweet. This was a very pretty shrine, though. This was the shrine where I was like 70% convinced. I was like, I'm gonna do an offering. I'm gonna do the offering. I'm gonna do the thing here. But I decided against it. Because there weren't a lot of people around, so I felt more comfortable, but yeah. Next time, I'm going to do it. Then the next thing I have on my slide is whale sharks. So this is actually from the Ferris wheel. Nervousness gets to you, yeah. This is from the Ferris wheel that I mentioned earlier that was by Osaka Port. And it was a great way to look around and see the area. And they have this, I don't know what it's called, but like street art of like the tiles of the whale sharks that are in the aquarium nearby. It's cute, it's so cute. This Ferris wheel was also how I was able to look around Osaka. And in particular, I saw in the distance, in the very far distance, two interesting places. I saw from a distance Harry Potter World and Mario World. They're right by each other. So I, from a distance, saw the Universal Studios area. It was kind of on the other side of where we were, so we weren't able to like go there. But I saw the pipes. It was one of those things where I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing over there. And we looked closer in our pitches and we're like, wait, that's Hogwarts. Wait, those are pipes. Those are green pipes. So they were there. Also, the interesting thing about the Ferris wheel is that there were like little tiny maps, like see-through maps on the sides of the Ferris wheel. where depending on what side of the Ferris wheel you looked at, it actually would point to part of the landscape and be like, this is here. So we looked at the map and it pointed and it's like, this is where Universal Studios is. And we were like, oh! You didn't go? Unfortunately not. It was too far away at that point, and we were leaving pretty soon. We didn't realize it was so close. But you best be sure that if I ever come back to Osaka, I'm gonna go there. But we saw it, and that's what makes me happy. Mario death noise. Next time. Next time. So we also decided to go browse the mall after this, and to be honest, there's a lot of times we went shopping, and I took a lot of like merch photos. I can't show them all. We would be here forever. We would be here forever. I might be able to show a couple, but we can't show them everything. But there were some highlights in the mall. There was like a petting zoo. I think people could also like buy animals there, but people were also able to go in and like pet animals. Like there were rabbits. I remember seeing a little kid in this like petting zoo area and being able to like pet the rabbits, and they were so excited too. Which is interesting. I don't think I've ever been in a mall where there was like a petting zoo inside. The food. Oh, right, the food. So being in a mall, there's a food court, right? The food in food courts were surprisingly really good. Like you would expect food court food to be kind of meh. They were very good. To the point where I actually a few times got seconds of stuff. And it's interesting because I didn't know how food court would work, because like in America, when you're done with your food, you throw it away, right? Like what do you do with like the bowls and chopsticks and yada, yada, yada. There's like a return system in Japan for food courts. So if you got food from a particular restaurant to take to the food court, they would give you like a tray and the bowl and I believe some chopsticks, some like easily disposable chopsticks. Either that or they had their own chopsticks. And even if they didn't give you any chopsticks, there are like spots in the food court where you can go get chopsticks and like water and drinks. But either way, what you would do was once you were done with your food, you would take the tray back to this return spot with everything and, you know, give it back. And there was also a thing in the food court where you could get like a rag and wipe down the table you were sitting at so that it would be clean. Just all very considerate stuff. And then there was a tray where you could return the rags so that they could be washed later. Food courts were interesting in Japan, and quite honestly, loved it. I would eat at food courts all day if I had no options. So if you're in Japan and you're like, I'm at this mall, but should I go out to a street and get a restaurant or go to the food court? Food courts are also very valid. There was one store in the mall that was like selling plastic food stuff, like display stuff. Have you ever had the ready-to-go meal that comes with self-heating? I don't think I have, actually. Like, do you mean the bento boxes? I don't think I had one. I was tempted to get one time, but I didn't get it. But yes, they had plastic food display, and that's where I saw these guys. The weird, like, radish carrot man people. So, I love Japan. I love Japan. Alright. But that's, like, the last photo that we have in, Osaka. There's a lot of vending machines that cook the food. True! We found a vending machine later that made orange juice. But I love these guys. That's all our time in Osaka. Then we took a couple of days travel to get to Okinawa. So, some bento boxes has string attached that says pull to heat. Ooh, yeah, no, I didn't get that. I looked at several bento boxes and almost bought them though. I should do that next time. But yes, we went to Okinawa, Chad Radish. True.
Also, hi, Fear. Welcome. How you doing? Hope you're doing well.
Let's see. I'm just checking my notes. Okay. All this talk of food made me far hungry. I need food.
Please get food.
So for those who don't know, Okinawa is like super far down. It's like one of the further south islands of Japan. So we went very far south. And I think later it'll be more articulate.
Oh, thanks for the hydrate.
The furthest south and furthest west. Yes, very far. I will say, in a lot of ways, Okinawa kind of felt like the Hawaii of Japan, if that makes sense, in more ways than one. And you might be able to get what I'm saying from that. But... Oh, thank you for the straight. Here we go. Time to straighten, everybody. That's definitely a vibe. Yeah. And it definitely felt like that after I visited this museum, the Okinawa Prefectural Peace Memorial Museum. Not Japanese. Yeah. So, we visited this museum. This was something that people in my group wanted to go to, and I kind of didn't want to go to it. I didn't really know what to expect, right? It was one of those things where I like people had talked about it and I was like, I don't really see the big deal, but you know what, if there's not really much else I want to do in Okinawa, so I'll go with you guys anyway. Did you see Cat Island? No, I don't think so. So we'll get into what this museum's about in a bit, but first of all, I want to call out this freaking guy that I noticed when I was editing these photos. Just sitting there on top, like you can see it in the previous photo. It's just up there. Don't know why. Don't know why he's just up there being like, hi, hello, welcome to Okinawa's Prefectural Peace Memorial Museum. He's all. Did you get any Shisa? No, but I saw tons of Shisa merch. I say merch, but like Shisha memorabilia, just merchandise. Words. Welcome to Okinawa. I'm not gonna give you nightmares. But yes. I will admit, I couldn't take pictures of a lot of this museum because they actually had a sign not to take pictures. But I didn't see that sign until after I took these pictures. And I think the sign was for inside at the actual museum. So this is the external area. I took this picture because I was like, oh, this is very pretty. And then that's when I noticed, you can kind of see by my hair, the pattern on the ground, right? It's a memorial, you know, yeah. Again, I didn't know what to expect, but I saw the pattern on the ground. And I thought that was interesting because I was just taking pictures of scenery. And that's when I noticed this. There was a lot of these. This is a little bit morbid. These are all names of people who died during some of the conflict that happened between Japan and America. Most of these names are civilians, which is rather unfortunate. And after this, we went through the museum to learn more about what people of Okinawa went through during the war. And I won't go into detail because, like I said, I don't like talking about this type of stuff, but it is history. It's like borderline politics, but it is history. It was one of those things where like a lot of people in Okinawa would were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place where they didn't want to get enlisted in the Japanese army, and the Japanese army was doing stuff, and they also were scared of the American army, and they would hide out in caves, and there was a lot of really sad testimonials of like people during this time of like people kind of giving up and not wanting to live anymore. It was one of those things where I didn't know what to expect before I got here, but after I got here and after I went through the museum, I kind of was really happy I went to this museum. Just so that I could like be more aware of stuff and like be more aware of their struggles. And it was interesting because usually like when you go to museums in America, it's kind of like you're viewing history from your country's lens. But when you're in a museum in a different country, you are viewing history from their lens. And I think that is super insightful and really important. So I'm really glad I went here because it was very informative. It's also one reason why I say this feels like the Hawaii of Japan in a lot of ways. I definitely cried going through this museum. So, like again, I didn't know what to expect. I'm very glad I went through here though. Visiting history museum of that because you see things that's different. Yes. So, yeah. Again, can't go into too much detail just due to stuff. But I'm very glad I went. Next picture, on a lighter note, this is some of the scenery that was in Okinawa. It was a beautiful area, by the way. Gorgeous area. Loved it. There was like, you could even find like hibiscus in this part on this island. So freaking pretty. There were no trains in Okinawa because it's a smaller island. You had to take buses everywhere. It was our first time riding buses in Japan. And buses also have passes, but we didn't get passes. So what you do is the longer you're on a bus, the more you have to pay. And they have like a sign that updates with every stop that shows like you get a ticket when you first get on that says what your stop is. And the display will add money under the stop you got on, so you know how much to pay before you leave the bus. Which is very convenient, honestly. So, after we visited the Memorial Museum, we decided to go to this place called Okinawa World. We went outside, kind of saw what it was about, realized we would have to pay, kind of didn't really want to pay, and then decided to go get food. So we did. We went to, I believe this was another ramen type restaurant or another noodle restaurant. We got there and it was one of those places where at the front you order your food with like a ticketing system. Udon noodles. Yeah, I think they had a variety of noodles here. But they had a ticketing system. I believe this is Doraemon ramen, I believe. So this actually was the restaurant I messed up in, because I thought I was supposed to sit in, there was two types of areas. There was like this lower area, and then there was like this elevated area that looked like it had like carpet or like a rug underneath it. I thought I was supposed to sit up there. So I got up there, and the wait staff was like, like telling me to come down, and I was like, huh? They're like, no shoes. I was like, oh, that was a no shoe area, and I just walked, So I like did a deep bow and was like apologizing. I'm like, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sumimasen. Gomenasai. I felt so bad. I didn't mean to. I'm a stupid foreigner. I didn't realize it was a no-shoe area. I'm so sorry. I put my gross shoes on your fine establishment. I know that feeling. Yeah, I felt so bad. That said, though, this was friggin' delicious. They had like this, it was like meat on the bone type of deal. There was like meat on the bone, and then I had like a little plate on the side where I could like discard the bone bits. So fascinating. After this, we decided to browse some more stores, and there were, I will say, if you just like walk down like streets in Japan, you will find a lot of stores that just sell like a lot of handcrafted goods. Like all of this is handcrafted, and it's freaking gorgeous. I wish I could have gotten some of these, but I was afraid of them like breaking while I was traveling, you know? So I ended up not getting anything, but they're freaking pretty, dude. We also saw some interesting stuff. We saw snake sake, which basically had like this two-headed snake inside sake. And it would add flavor to the sake. They were expensive though, like super expensive, like 15,000 yen or something. Other thing there was,
Apparently, in Okinawa,
sea salt ice cream is a thing. And if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, you want to try sea salt ice cream, right? I did. So I tried it. It wasn't that great. It was not that great. But I tried it. All right, y'all. It's time. It's time for my one of my favorite parts about this trip. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Because I'm so excited. It's time.
I love this thing.
Was it blue? No, it was white. Time for one of my favorite parts. It's time to talk about Kumamon. It's time to talk about Kumamoto. Stanza. I saw this was so obvious. The final boss. Oh, don't worry. There's more. I love this thing so much. This is Kumamoto. He's summoning the storms. It did rain really badly that day. So, he has a face too. This is Kumamoto. This is Kumamon, the mascot of Kumamoto. When we first got to Kumamoto, we were kind of like looking at pictures of what to do, and we saw there was a Kumamoto Park, and we're like, what is this thing? We're gonna check it out. So something I forgot to mention, every area in Japan has like a mascot. Like all the previous areas we visited had mascots. This is Kumamoto's, Kumamon. And as you can tell, Kumamon is a black bear type thing. And they were everywhere. And I mean everywhere, like literally everywhere. This picture right here, we were walking somewhere and I looked down this alley and he was there. That is how this picture existed. Because I was walking and I looked down this alley and I was like, holy frick, he's just standing there. And I like pointed out to others and they're like, oh! Everyone was scared. And this lady walked by. And she saw it and she was like, oh, Kumamon's there. Say hi to Kumamon, everybody. As if it was just a normal thing. Like, oh, he's here too. Say hello to him. Say hello to them. Oh, I love this thing so much. It was one of those things where it was so creepy when I first saw it, but then I saw the amount around. Was this a local? It was. I saw the amount of Kumamotos that there were, and I just fell in love with it because it's one of those things where it's so like unnerving. It became cute. When Kuma doesn't cook anymore. I just noticed the background.
Oh, do you mean this? Do you mean this?
How they're all just sitting there in a choir like, oh, oh. I love this thing so much. Ah! You will be judged. Oh, it's our boss mission. Phase 3, they were everywhere. Everywhere, dude. Like, we went to a mall, Kumamo was there. We were driving to the mall, Kumamo was on the street. Kumamo is everywhere. I love this thing so freaking much. Welcome back. Oh my gosh. It's so unnerving. It's so freaking, like, it's so good. I bought so much Kumamon merch. I love this thing. I have to have it.
Oh, thanks for the hydrate.
While you were looking for Xenoblade Saga, Kumamon was there. It's true. It's true. to you it's unnerving, but some kid must look up to that bear. I do now. But yeah, when we first got there, we were like, what the frick? And at the end, I was like, what the frick? I love it. It's so good. But yes, they were everywhere. As you may have also noticed, it was raining so bad that day. It was so bad that day. Like, I can't show video, but it was really, really bad. So we decided to do something a little bit easier that day. I was trying to say that I was studying the blade. Rain looks good though. Oh, it was good rain. Like, but it was bad. Like your shoes are soaked type of bad. So we decided to take it easy and we went to a mall. And I'm not sure if this is in other malls, but they have this thing at the front of the mall where you could like put your umbrella that you have in it and then pull it out to the side. And your umbrella would be in a bag so that you could walk around the mall and not get rain everywhere, like get water everywhere. It'd be protected. So that was cool. But yeah, we decided to walk around the mall. We have more merch stuff that I unfortunately cannot show you. However, remember how when I saw the Undertale pachinko thing, I was like, there's some interesting stuff I saw later. For some reason, there is a claw machine with the Amazing Digital Circus, and I believe this is the official merch for Amazing Digital Circus, so I'm pretty sure this isn't official. But it was there. I like looked over and I was like, wait. There was only Jax. Only Jax. It looks so tedious. They even have the clips laminated, yeah. So we've also found a lot of other stuff there. Is that a screen grab or fan art? That's a screen grab. They were screenshots, yes. They were not fan art, I promise you. That was interesting. We also found a bunch of other games, like we found Magic the Gathering cards in Japanese. We found taiko drums. They had like a gaming section, and we found taiko drums, and we were able to play taiko drums, which was awesome. That's another thing off my bucket list. Then we also found a bookstore there too. Why though? Because Amazing Digital Circus is popular. Like we said earlier, they will use popular stuff, which includes Amazing Digital Circus, which I also like. But did they just have a bunch of Jack plushes in storage? I'm not sure. But yes, we found a bookstore. I'm about to show you something that we found in the bookstore. This is Minecraft manga. When I tell you I did a double take, I was like, oh, what game is that? And then I was like, wait a second, I'm in a bookstore. Manga based off a famous Japanese Minecraft tuber? It is? That makes so much more sense. But yes, Minecraft manga. I really don't know what the plot is. Not sure what the impression it gives me. It's definitely a heck of an impression. Wait, are you serious? No, this manga based off YouTuber. Interesting. I had no idea. That makes sense though, because I also later on in this trip saw manga for VTubers, and I'm wondering if that was based off of a VTuber in Japan. Terror Bride confirmed? I have no idea. I didn't buy it. It's like they genuinely like wrote a book about a VTuber. What? Yes, I found a VTuber manga book too. I can't show it, but I found. You called it, Spencer. If it exists, it's in Japan. Every character they have in manga is another famous Minecraft tuber. Oh, really? Oh, that's fun. So what are you getting your manga to? Oh, that's the dream. That should be on my bucket list. You know how like VTubers debut and they're like, I want a voice act in an anime. And I'd be like, I want a manga made of me. You don't know because they're Japanese Minecraft tubers. I also just don't know famous English Minecraft tubers either. There was something else I found, actually, in the bookstore. These are Japanese guides for Tears of the Kingdom and Yakuza, or Like a Dragon, as it's been renamed, Yakuza 8. Which was really cool that they were right next to each other. Some of my favorite games. I say favorite. I still need to play more Yakuza games, but I freaking love Yakuza. The fact that they were right next to each other makes me very happy. Let's see. So there was also a bunch of other. It's an 8. There's There's like 8 games. This is for the 8th game. There's also a bunch of other books we saw. Like I saw Boy and the Heron book. I saw My Hero Academia manga. There was Free Ren, Spy Family. Spy Family was everywhere. Hunter x Hunter. I also saw English movies in Japanese, which was cool. And then I decided to look for shirts. There's Minecraft on this truck. True. Pretty sure it's infinite wealth in English. Oh, that makes sense. 8. So for those who for those who don't know, sometimes you can find English shirts in Japan, and sometimes the English is like interesting. I wanted to find a shirt that was funny as a souvenir for someone. So these are some of the better shirts I found. Unfortunately, none of them like fit the person I was giving this a gift for. So you just get to see these. So there's this one where it's like, I'm under the tree. Me too. I think that shirt is a good shirt. The next, I also saw other shirts where it was like University of Oklahoma. And like there were Spanish shirts too. There was one Spanish shirt where it's like of like a bulldog, or I think a pit bull. I'm sorry, I'm getting them mixed up, but it just said hola. There was a lot of interesting shirts. So there was this one. There's another shirt. I want to be a shark doctor. Finds sharks. I love this shirt so much. I think this reminds me of the anime. Hello, how are you? Fine, thank you. I love the genre clothing. It's so good. I want to be a shark doctor. Find sharks. And then there's this bag we found that is absolutely amazing. I hate you. And then it has Kermit on the side. Why? Why does this exist? Oh, it's great. And then, good for you. Good for you. Oh, I love these shirts. How is he dubbed in Bleach? I don't know. I'd wear that to someone's birthday. Oh, I love the stuff you can find. So, then we decided to get some food, and we ended up getting this. So, apparently in Kumamoto, they're known for like black pork or black beef, something like that. And I believe this is black pork ramen, or like an equivalent to that. And I will say, this is arguably the best ramen I had on this trip. It was so rich, so flavorful. It was insane how good this was. Like, I felt like it was also super like greasy and oily. Like, it's kind of hard to see, but it was so good, dude. So good. Some of the best food I've had. This was a garden that was kind of close to the port where we had to get back on. There was also, you can't see it here, but there was also a kumamon in the water here. So, like I said, they were everywhere. But this garden was very pretty. So, some things that I can't show that happened. Secret kumamon. Yeah, he was bathing. This also, so I mentioned earlier how like locals or volunteers, Stephen B's drowning. Locals or volunteers would like wave us goodbye. When we left this port, there was someone dressed as Kumamon, the mascot, waving us goodbye. And it was still raining. There was a person out there that was waving us goodbye in the rain. It was so sweet. And that was it. He was there. He was there. He was there. It was so sweet. I felt bad for him. I hope whoever was in there didn't get too sick. Such devastation. I mean, such dedication. You should have hugged them. Well, they were kind of in a spot where we weren't able to get to them, unfortunately. We saw them from the boat. Oops. So, but it was still so sweet. I love Kumamon, dude. Kumamon, I'm a changed person after I saw Kumamon.
All right.
We're gonna keep going. Because we only got a little bit left, I think. Next area we went to, was actually not Japan. We took a stop in Korea. So, we went to, I believe it's called Jeju Island. I will be 100% honest, I wasn't really feeling the best this day. So a lot of stuff is kind of fuzzy for me. Kumamon, we are not the same. God, Kumamon, we are not the same. True though. So you went to 2 countries in one trip. I did. To be fair, we were only here briefly. And again, I wasn't feeling today, so I kind of didn't like explore Korea that much. But yes, this is Jeju Island. I believe this is one of the areas where like warriors were gathered or trained. It was like a government area building. I cannot remember though, and I feel bad. Like I said, I wasn't feeling the best this day, so things are foggy. I enjoyed my time at Jeju. From what I heard, there's so many cool things at Jeju, and I kind of said I missed out on it, but yeah, just it was one of those days.
It happens.
This is what some of the grounds area looks like in this little area. If I had known you go, I recommend you 2 places. Ooh, what places? Yes, but I do apologize. Like, because I didn't want people to like book tickets and go to where I was going, I kind of didn't want to tell people I was going to Japan. So, yeah.
But what places?
But this is the garden area. It's not shown in this picture, but Jeju Island is really known for its oranges, I guess. They apparently have tons of different types of oranges in Jeju Island. And in this little area itself, there was like an orchard of oranges. And I want to say they had like maybe 10 different types of oranges there. There's an art exhibit that had light art shows. They had 2 rooms where you could walk in and had transitioning. Oh, that's so cool! That's so cool! Dang! Yeah, I would have liked to see that, but I was not feeling that day, so I couldn't. But maybe in the future. Had an art wall full of drawn animals you could color in on. Oh, and then the Hello Kitty exhibit. Oh, that's so awesome! Oh yeah, I'm gonna remember that for maybe another time. Let's see. The next picture is another picture of inside this area. And I believe this is a well and then a building next to it, which by the way, I mentioned this in Japan, but same thing also applies to Jeju Island in Korea. Whatever preservation skills they got going on is like insane. Like the buildings there still were like bright and vibrant, and you could still like walk on them and stuff. Was that actually you there? I'll never tell. You're fine on keeping private life. Still gets weird when customers call me by name. I wear my name tag.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I could talk more about stuff, but then I think of the inherent risk and I'm like,
Best not.
because it might not be there next time. Hello, Kelly, you and I'll be there. True. But yeah, there was a lot of like different buildings here where like local officials either lived or they trained. I know there's one area where they trained, and then there's like another spot where it's like if they were bored, they played games and whatnot. I didn't try any of the games. It was like the game where like you have that circle and a stick, and you try to keep that circle balanced for as long as possible as you keep rolling it. They had that game there that people could try.
Let's see.
This next bit is inside one of the buildings, which again, it's kind of insane just how like vibrant these colors still are. They also had this like netting underneath. It's a little hard to see, but they had this like netting underneath the ceiling. I think it's to prevent animals or if like something fell to catch it. I'm not sure, but super pretty. A lot of waterfalls in the area. Ooh, pretty. Yeah, I will say I did hear about the this subway market that was pretty cool to prevent animals getting it. Ah, that makes sense. Let me see. Oh, yes. Okay. So while we were at this place, I actually found a cat. There was a cute little cat. It was a black and white cat. And it got scared. It hid into one of these hatches on the side of the building, and then a bunch of other, like, foreigners and tourists saw it, and they tried getting the cat out, and naturally the cat was like, I don't want anything to do with these people. But then, net catch? What would the net catch? Well, I figured because it's like an older building, if a piece fell off, they could catch it, and then it would, like, preserve it. But predating animals makes more sense. But yeah, so there was a cat. Once people left, though, the cat came out, and I was able to, like, get a video of the cat, but I can't show it. But it was cute. That said, literal minutes after the cat, it started to rain. Like, you know how in Kumamoto it was raining? It happened there, too, in minutes. Like, it was suddenly very bad. And that's at that point where I decided to leave. Wasn't really feeling it. I will say, the group I went with apparently went to go get some food, and they all accidentally got spicy food. Well, I shouldn't say accidentally. They tried their best to get food that wasn't spicy. It was still spicy, and they all were, like, suffering. Apparently, in Korea, spice is just very common, and it's almost impossible to get food that is not going to be spicy in Korea. Just as a heads up, if you are intolerant to spice. There you were near still as a preserved and still practice maturity standards and practice the old way, including food and drinks. Wait, really? Oh! Yeah, I would get that vibe. It seemed very preserved. Sounds like some kind of food I would like. But yeah, apparently it was super spicy. Okay. So, unfortunately, I don't have much for Jeju. I'm sorry. I wish. But, yeah. I went back and took a nap and sorted through my emotions so that I could be ready for the rest of the trip. So, next up, I know it's hard to tell. Next up, we went to Kagoshima. This was one of our last days, so we're getting near the end of my trip. One of our last days, we went to Kagoshima, back into Japan. Yep, we're back in Japan. There was no real plan in Kagoshima. We kind of just wanted to, like, walk around, get food, maybe see some nearby stuff. My goal was just to have food. So, that's what I did. We got soba! This is my first time trying soba. I got warm soba. I know you can have cold soba. I was in the mood for warm soba that day. So, soba and shrimp tempura, it was very good. I definitely want to try more soba just dishes later. Soba noodles were very interesting too. Like, they have a very different texture than, like, ramen and udon noodles. So, apparently the cold soba was very good. We went to this one place that was very traditional. Like, it's soft. It is soft. We went to a place that was very traditional. Like, they didn't have an English menu, but luckily they still allowed us to eat there. And there were people dressed up there in very traditional clothes. They had, like, traditional music playing in the background. It was super awesome to be able to eat there. I definitely want more soba later. And yeah, then we decided to go check out some stores nearby. And guess what I found? Genshin! I found more Genshin. That's the interesting thing. I never really found, like, small Genshin merch. I always found big Genshin merch, like these books. And then there were also desk mats at this store. It's like there weren't any, like, small Genshin keychains or whatever. It was like, do you want a book or a desk mat? Always big merch when it came to Genshin. So because of that, they were always kind of expensive. Did you get any souvenirs? Oh, I got tons of souvenirs. I don't know how much I could talk or how much I want to reveal, but I got a lot of souvenirs. But yeah, the other thing I saw at this store was Star Rail. There was Star Rail. These are, they were acrylic stands of the splash arts, right? And then at the top, there were some light cones. And they're like, I have one. I bought one. They're like these things where they have like a little flap on the back. And you can like set it up so that it's like a picture frame. Yeah. So there was also a Tears of Themis section. But when I say section, I mean super small section. Like, you see how big these acrylic stands are? The Tears of Themis section took up one spot of the acrylic stands. Endless Zenless Zone Zero. No, I think because the game isn't out, there's no merch for it yet. Once it comes out, there probably will be a lot. But yeah, none of that. Let me see. Oh, that's the other thing. I don't remember seeing Honkai Impact 3rd merch. Like, genuinely. I don't remember seeing it. I know what the characters look like, and I played the game a bit, but I don't remember seeing Honkai Impact stuff. I don't know why, because that game's also pretty popular. Although it doesn't hold a candle compared to Star Rail or Genshin, unfortunately. But no Honkai Impact 3rd merch. All right. Oh, snap. Hold on. My mouse died. Give me 1 second. We're nearing the end. We're almost done. But this is one of the last shots we took of Kagoshima. This is near the end of our trip. Rip mouse. I know. Could have lasted a little bit longer. We're almost done. We're almost done. Hold on. 1 second. Sorry, but I want to mention this. I visited Jeju. Find the Earth Dragon? Earth Dragon? Ooh, what's the Earth Dragon? No group shot. Oh, we have plenty group shots. I ain't posting that, though. Famous spot, and those who visit are granted good fortune. Ooh! I'll keep that in mind. Okay. So this is one of our last shots. I believe we also saw the volcano that was nearby, like in the distance, but we didn't go to it. Saw more historical buildings. Oh! What was really interesting, so this was near the end. We went to this park, and there was like a dog, like, gathering going on with owners. There were two types of dog gatherings. There was like a small dog gathering, and then a large dog gathering. And it was interesting because, like, the small dogs were like yapping at each other. There was like one dog that did not like another dog, and there was tension and drama. Whereas the other big dogs were kind of like running into ditches, and we're like, yay! But as we were getting back, because this was one of our last stops, they actually played these this very traditional song, or at least I thought they were having court. They were big doggos.
There were so many dogs. We saw like poodles.
And like dogs are often like dressed up in Japan, or like we saw a lot of dogs that had like vests. So you have small balls of fierce energy, then you have large dogs of silliness. It's true. I mean, there were some dogs that were small dogs that were super nice. It was just there was 2 specifically that were beefing. How many Shibas did you see? I definitely saw a handful of Shibas. Definitely. Not here. No, actually I might have seen some Shibas here, but I saw them all over. But it was a handful. Not too much. I saw like Labradors, and I think I mentioned poodles. I think I saw huskies. Yeah. So, well, music on speakers. The speakers were so freaking loud. Like, we walked past the speakers to go somewhere, and my ears started ringing simply just by walking past these speakers. Like, I don't know how. It was so bad. But I thought it was a recording. Turns out, it was not a recording. Corgis. I don't remember seeing corgis, to be honest. I think I saw 1 corgi. But, so I thought this was music was a recording. It wasn't. Turns out, remember how I said that people would like wave to us goodbye or like dance us goodbye? There was a very traditional type of dance happening before we left. And they had like the mat laid out so that people could play the instruments, and people were dancing in kimonos and chanting. It was so cool. It was kind of like a really nice, fun farewell of being like, kind of like the realization then set in where I was like, oh yeah, I gotta go home soon. I gotta go home soon. So yeah. Then the next day we got back to Tokyo, and we decided to use a little bit more time in the city to check out a few things before we had to leave. This is where we found an orange juice vending machine. It was like in a train station, and it had actual oranges inside it. And then it would take an orange and squeeze it and make warm orange juice, like hot orange juice, because of all the friction. That was interesting. I unfortunately cannot show it because it was also a very reflective vending machine. So rip. Then we also went to an underground shopping mall where we saw a few other stores. Like there was a Kirby cafe, and it like was like a Kirby, like had like different pastries. Like there was like a car Kirby pastry and cute little like strawberry cake and stuff. But there was a massive line for it. Then there was also like a Ghibli store nearby. So people went in there to look at merch and get some Ghibli merch.
Oh yeah?
I love Kirby, dude. Show us the photo of the vending machine, but have it be just emotes covering the entire screen. Kirby Baker brought to life. Yeah, for real though. Let's see. Oh, we also went to a curry house. I believe it's Coco Curry, although I think the actual name was Curry House Coco Ichibanya or something. So we had curry for the first. I had curry, like authentic curry, and I decided to get it with the standard sauce because a lot of people got the mild sauce, but I was like, no, I want to know what the real deal is, and it was definitely spicy, but it was delicious too. Definitely really spicy though. And then we checked out a very important place for me. Very important place for me. We checked out Don Quixote, or I think that's how it's said. If you don't know this place, it is a general store. It's kind of like Walmart, but it's quirky Walmart. It's one of those places where there is just so much to it. So much to this place. Literally, you walk in and it is visually incredibly busy. Like, actual insanity. And you could find almost anything in here. Like, you could find anything in here. We found, like, masks. Like, Halloween-type masks. There was food here. I saw a rack where people could get, like, souvenirs. There was quirkier than Walmart. That's an achievement. No, like, legit. It is quirkier than Walmart. And it's like stacked. You could find that jingle is in my brain. It's a good jingle. You could find, so like I said, you could find food here. You could find souvenirs here. You could find like daily necessities like shampoo and conditioner. There were sex toys here. There was a Nintendo section. There was a Pokemon section. There was a section where there was like ototomes. There was so much in this store.
Nani?
Yes! Well, what? Yes! There was so many things in this store. Like, it's actually insane how many things were in here. Sounds like Spencer's. Then they had, like, ceiling decorations to signify the different areas. Ow! Dang it, I wanted to share a story, but it's not my story to say. Let's just say, some people bought a lot of stuff here because there was that much stuff here. An insane amount. By the way, there were Kit Kats here. You know how in Japan they have all sorts of weird Kit Kats? Well, you could buy a lot of those weird Kit Kats at a Donkey Kong's. Like, it is actually insane. There were so many different types of Kit Kats. Ever wanted to try sake Kit Kat? That exists. Pokemon charcoal flavored Kit Kats? All the Kit Kats. All the Kit Kats. They all exist. Unfortunately, this was around the time we had to leave. However, if you think that's the end of the stories, I have one last story to tell. Because the flight back was ridiculous. So, the flight back was a little ridiculous. One of my flights backs. Because there were multiple flights. Here's the scenario. I am running on 1 hour of sleep. All I want to do on this next flight that I have is just to get some sleep. I need some sleep. I'm exhausted. I've been traveling. I want some sleep. So, I'm sitting on this flight, preparing to sleep. Suddenly, I see someone bored, and it's a person holding a brown toy poodle, I believe. Or some sort of a poodle. I need some sleep soon. Oh, don't worry, I do too. They were holding a brown toy poodle, and I was like, okay, doggone plane. This is the first for me, but I have heard this happen before. I'll take some allergy meds. It'll be okay. So I take some allergy meds, right? Keep in mind, brown toy poodle. Then, I hear something to my right. And I look over, and there are these two British ladies to my right. And they're kind of laughing and chatting, you know, whatever. They're being posh and being like, oh my goodness gracious, it was so much fun. Like, doing whatever. One of them pulls out their phone and starts playing a clip vertically on their phone. And I'm like, that happens, you know. People show whatever on phones. It's fine. So they keep playing the clip, and then time goes on. And the plane starts moving. And I noticed that they're still playing their video. And I'm like, oh, that's a little interesting. Like, why? That's a little interesting. This clip, this video that they're playing seems to be going on for a very long time. The plane keeps moving. And I'm still like, this is a very long thing that they're watching. And that's when I realized what they were watching. By the way, no headphones. They were playing it out loud so that I could tell that they were watching this thing, right? So it played before we started moving, and we're still moving, and this clip is still playing, and I can hear this clip. It's blasting. These ladies, these British ladies, are watching the Barbie movie vertically on one of their phones. And that's when it hit me. Oh no. These ladies are going to be watching the Barbie movie the entire flight. I just wanted to get some sleep. Just wanted to get some sleep. And here's the thing. It was vertically. It was not horizontal where the picture would be wider. It was vertically. They were using 1/3 of their screen to watch the Barbie movie. And I was like, oh. So I'm like having like this internal crisis, like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the whole flight. Am I even going to sleep? I mean, I'll get my headphones out. We're gonna do our freaking best. I don't have the energy to confront them. We're gonna do something. Then suddenly, I take it you didn't like the Barbie movie yet. Oh, I just haven't seen it. I cannot imagine the lack of whatever keeps you doing that. I know. Just imagine two British grandmas. Oh, look what the grandchild has shown me. Yeah, I thought it was that. I thought it was like they were watching like a Snapchat or something. But no, it was the Barbie movie. I do want to see the Barbie movie. I just don't want to see it in that way. So I'm like freaking out like, oh my gosh. Okay, I'll get my headphones. We'll do what we can. I'm tired enough. Maybe I could sleep through it. Then suddenly, I feel something around my knees. Like something next to my knees. And I'm like, what the frick? And I look down. And from the darkness of the plane below me, out comes a black Labrador and stares at me. And I'm blinking and looking at it while the Barbie movie is playing to my right. And I'm like, there's a dog. There's a dog. Wait, this is a different dog that I saw before. Why is there a different dog? Wait, is this the same dog? No, there is a different dog. And that's when I noticed that there's a hand holding the leash of this dog on like a death grip. And I follow the hand and I look up and it's the owner in the seat in front of me. And they are turning over and they're like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And then they bring the dog back over to them and they are still apologizing. Meanwhile, the two British ladies are still watching the Barbie movie on their phone out loud for all to hear. Hi, Quentin. Friendly puppy? Oh yeah, it was definitely a friendly puppy. But you know, still like people, you never know how strangers will react to dogs. So, but yeah, that sounds chaotic. Oh, don't worry. There's one more thing. So this was all before takeoff. Luckily it does end soon, but it was all before takeoff. We get in the air. And I'm like, okay, I have my headphones on. I can sleep. I look over at the British ladies. And one of them had fallen asleep. Did that stop the other British lady from playing the Barbie movie on her phone? Nope. You would think when the other lady falls asleep, you could be like, oh, let me put on headphones. Nope. Somehow I did manage to sleep on that flight. It's so funny because before that flight, I was thinking, we could sleep on this flight. It'll be fine. And I feel like the universe decided to latch on to what I said. I feel like the universe decided to latch on to what I said and decided to prove me wrong, but with a sense of humor. Being like, oh, you wanted to try to sleep on this flight? Well. It was also a very turbulent flight, but I'm glad I was able to sleep 15 minutes. I will take it. I'll take it. Yeah, that was, a first. That was a first. Luckily, the craziness ended there, and it just kind of became normal. I was watching that flight. So I heard you were wanting to sleep on this flight. About that. Yeah, I got 10 minutes of sleep. It was good. And then we had to keep traveling, so it is what it is. But yeah, that flight was just... Okay, all right.
So yeah, that was my trip in a nutshell.
10 minutes. Yep, 10 minutes of sleep on that flight. So I got about an hour of sleep in total that day. There's probably some stuff I missed. There's probably some stuff that I will probably end up talking about in streams to come because I will be reminded of stuff. But yeah, that's the gist. Thank you guys so much for coming by and listening to me rant about my time in Japan. That means a lot. I was honestly not expecting this kind of turnout for me talking about my trip, so thank you. What was your overall rating of your trip to Japan? And when might you go back again? I have no idea when I will go back again. I need to keep saving money. Overall rating. I would say 9 out of 10. I think it would have been 10 out of 10 if my schedule wasn't so jam-packed of like doing stuff. Unfortunately, that kind of comes with the territory when it comes to being on cruises and whatnot. And we wanted to see a lot so that we could have an idea of like stuff to focus on whenever we came back kind of thing, you know? Because we didn't know where to start with Japan. Now that I've been there, I've had a starting point and I know what I want now. So I feel like I can take my time and like enjoy things in a more casual sense after that. But it was still a blast. Still super memorable. You can never go there just once. Yeah, I plan on going there again. I don't know when though. It's just gotta save money, gotta plan stuff. Yada yada yada. It's a busy time. You're entertaining and the story is fun. Oh, I'm glad. Glad. And hopefully I didn't step over any boundaries of the people I traveled with. And if I did, I hope they let me know. I'm sorry. But yeah, trips aren't cheap. Oh my gosh. No. I spent a lot of money on this trip. And even just being in Japan alone. Let's not forget how much money it takes to get there. I have spent a lot of money on this trip alone. Not just the last month, but the months following and trying to just even get here. I need to get Flay's ultra famous so she can go to Japan.
Maybe one day.
Japan funds. I need funds so I can get a new model. That's my next goal. Like an actual model that I like. This does bring up something I mentioned about life. So, tomorrow I'm hoping to stream Honkai Star Rail because there's a new story update and I don't want to get spoiled anymore. But in terms of stream schedules, I don't have anything set yet. But things are kind of changing in like my work schedule is changing a bit. A lot is changing at my work. So unfortunately, I might in the future have to be streaming a little bit later than usual. I'm not sure. We're gonna have to be a little flexible next time. Or not next time, but in the future, we're gonna have to be flexible on stream times. So just as a heads up, my stream schedule might be changing. It's kind of tentative. We'll figure it out. But that won't be for a while. We have time. But it is something that's gonna happen. I need to see Flays and Baka. That's gonna be fun.
All right. Well, let me head over to the end screen just for the officialness of it.
Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. It means a lot to me. So I also really wanted to do this stream so that I could do it soon, get a lot of the stories out, and then we could focus on just playing games and whatnot. And also just because it was recent, my memory will be fresher, so I wanted to do that. Say goodbye to Japanese. Oh, I could, yeah. I won't say for obvious reasons, but you're going to love the new Star Wars story. Oh, I feel like I know what you're talking about, because
people can't hide their spoilers.
Stories for fun, thank you. Yeah, I'm also getting some sleep because I'm not completely recovered. I am still exhausted. So I hope to see you tomorrow for Honkai Star Rail. I'll let you guys know if I have to change that and if I just really need sleep. But yeah.
to you guys later.
I guess I'll say goodbye in Japanese. I guess.
Thanks. Yeah, またね